Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our special meeting of council for Wednesday, November 26, 2025. It is 2:05 p.m. and we are all in person at this hybrid meeting. And we have a gallery full of guests, which is fantastic. Just like to call the meeting to order and remind everyone that Town of Midland recognizes located on land which is traditional and treaty territory of the Anishinaabe people, now known as Chippewa Tri-Council, comprised of Bow Slave First Nation, Rama First Nation, and Georgina Island First Nation. The territories within Pre-Confederation Treaty 5 and Treaty 16 and included within the Williams Treaties of 1923. Town of Midland recognizes located on land which is the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat and historic homelands of the Métis, and that our town is home to a large and diverse community of Indigenous people. And I'd like to read the following safety message. Should the fire alarm activate, please exit the room in orderly fashion and proceed to the evacuation assembly area, which is located in the upper parking lot. You may exit through the main entrance, the glass doors there. Make an immediate left, proceed out the front doors or through the secondary exit back here. Go up the stairs, check the door for heat before opening. If it's safe, exit on the second floor, turn right and proceed out the door in front of you, or just follow us. Washrooms are located on the second floor and elevators just outside the doors. As Midland has a respectful workplace policy, and exhibiting violent or harassing behavior will be asked to leave. Members of the audience are to maintain order and quiet, not to address council except with permission of the chair. All cell phones and pagers or electronic devices, always a good reminder, are to be set to turned off or set to non-audible, and no person shall display signs or placards, applaud participants, or debate and engage in conversation, electronic or otherwise, or behave in a way that may disrupt proceedings of council. For anyone requiring a hearing assist device, please advise the clerk, and she'll arrange for our IT staff to provide you with the device. And council meetings are recorded via Zoom and are posted on the town's YouTube site. The meetings are also broadcast on Rogers TV channel 53, one meeting per month, and live streamed via Rogers TV Midland, which can be accessed through the Town of Midland website. Individual recording, broadcasting, or streaming of the meetings by the public or any member is not permitted without express consent of the clerk and all those present. There we go. Through the preamble, I now invite you all to join me in a moment of silent reflection before we get into the meat of the meeting. Thank you. Council, any declarations of conflict of interest relating to today's agenda items? Seeing none, if there is, just throw your hand up at the time, let us know. Next, I have my motions. Moved by Councillor Patel, seconded by Councillor McDonald, that the contents of the special meeting of council agenda for November 26, 2025 be approved. Council, all those in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. And we'll move right into our public meeting, section 5.1. I'd like to call the public meeting to order. The public meeting is held to receive input from our public on the town's 2026 draft budget. The public meeting is being held in accordance with the town's notice bylaw 2009-20 and procedure bylaw 2022-2. The purpose of the public meeting is to hear from residents on the 2026 draft budget and for council to only seek clarity on their comments. As per section 9.9C of the town's procedure bylaw 2002-2, council members shall not enter into debate or discussion of the matter during the public meeting. We are all ears, though. Council will not be making a decision or taking a position tonight, but this is the public's community opportunity to speak, and council encourages you to do so. All comments will be received and documented for information by staff and considered during our budget deliberations on our three days that are coming up. So I'd like to ask the clerk to confirm notification of the meeting regarding the town's 2026 budget.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. I can confirm that notice of the public meeting was provided in accordance with the town's notice bylaw and procedure bylaw.
Fantastic. So I'd like to open the meeting to comments from the public. If you have submitted written comments, there's no need to repeat the comments in the forum, as staff will be presenting those comments to council during our budget deliberations in early December. If a previous speaker has highlighted your concerns and appreciation of time and given the number of registrants who would like to speak, we would appreciate that the comments you provide are new if possible. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone in attendance who'd like to provide comments with respect to the town's draft 2026 budget. Please keep in mind there is a time limit of 5 minutes, and we ask that you please state your address for the record. Going once. Going twice. Anybody online? Nobody online? Okay. Well, again, I always say this is a little depressing sometimes. I don't know if we should take it as just a shot, a shot in the arm that we're doing a great job and that they love to watch our council deliberations in a regular budget, or if there's just so much apathy that we're just going to do what we want anyway. Why get up and talk on the mic? Because there is that widely held belief, which is true in some municipalities, but not true in ours. But anyway, a bit of a bummer no one's here for that opportunity. But to be fair, we do receive input 365 days a year from concerned community members who do like to provide input on matters before the municipality. So that remains. Anyway, so I've rambled on long enough to see if anyone was to stagger in and wanted to have a go at the mic, but I don't see anybody. So there are no comments. I will thank the public for not commenting, I guess, and I'll call the public meeting to an end. Oh, there's the fourth one like this now. Anyway, such is life. And so that was that. We'll move on to our agencies, boards, and commissions now. Number 6 on our agenda. We'll start off with our Midland Public Library. So the following agencies, boards, and commissions are going to provide a 10-minute overview of their 2026 work plan highlights, followed by a 10-minute Q&A answer period. So that's about 20 minutes per ABC. We've got the Public Library, Route 93 Innovation Hub, the BIA, Severn Sound Environmental Association, the Huroney Museum, Askinoni Senior Center, and Huroney Airport, as well as Midland Cultural Center, and I'll do the update for the Southern Georgian Bay Open Pit Attachment Board. So we'll kick things off with the Public Library. So step on up and press the button so the red light comes on, and we're all ears.
Thank you and good afternoon. My name is Kim Weiser and I'm Chair of the Board of Directors of the Midland Public Library. I would like to express my sincere thanks to Mayor Gordon and the Midland Town Council for the opportunity to present the Midland Public Library's 2026 budget. The library's staff and Board of Directors have dedicated considerable effort to creating a fiscally responsible budget that will enable us to continue to engage, inspire, and empower the community we serve. At this time, I'd like to ask Trish Hayes, the CEO of the library, to come forward and continue with the presentation. Next 2 slides, please. And one more. Great. Good afternoon. The Midland Library has worked hard to ensure we provide services that are attended and valued by our community. Membership rose by 11% last year. Circulation of physical materials was up 13%. Online collection usage increased by over 26%, and internet access saw a rise of 20%. These achievements were made without any increase to material or resource funding over the last 5 years. Our staff have been strategic in optimizing our ordering process and resource allocation to ensure that we continue to invest the services our community values the most. Our recent community survey highlights the perception of the library has expanded beyond just circulation and loanable items. More people now view us as a vital community hub, playing an essential role in combating social isolation and fostering an inclusive environment. Next slide, please. This shifting perception of the library has contributed to a remarkable 30% increase in program use and attendance compared to the previous year. The library team has worked diligently to offer a diverse range of programs that are not only fun and engaging, but also align with the needs of our community. In total, we hosted 576 programs that attracted 11,189 participants. In addition to our in-house programs, the library also conducted 60 outreach events over the past year, extending our services beyond our walls, bringing them to senior centers and local events throughout the community. Next slide, please. With community donations, we were able to open up a toy lending library this year. The toys were selected to enhance motor, social, sensory, and cognitive skills. We provided access to a community navigation worker 3 days a week through CFS counseling and well-being. We expanded our family music program, having won the 2024 CBC Music Class Competition. As well, Each of our 3 programmers have been selected to present provincially for the Ontario Library Association on topic areas where we are seen as being subject matter experts. These include partnerships between makerspaces and schools, older adult programming, and building collaboration with community partners. Next slide, please. In 2025, we received $70,000 in funding from the county to support the hiring of a community navigation worker at the library. We also received confirmation that this funding will continue for 2026. This allows our workers and our staff to focus on our core library objectives and responsibilities while it provides value to community in outreach and for those in need. Additionally, we secured over $3,000 in corporate sponsorships for our summer programs, and we received $2,020 for our income tax clinics. Next slide, please. In the last community survey, 51% of respondents visit the library daily or weekly. 70% of respondents check out holds and materials. 63% attend library programs and spend times with friends and family. 84% of respondents rated our customer service as excellent. 99% said it was excellent or good overall. Our community increasingly recognizes the library's value as a community hub, tech center, and place to access programming. The survey also highlighted the library's role as a respectful, inclusive space for all. Next slide, please. Some of the comments from the survey include its availability. It's always there when my family needs to find books for leisure or study. It offers fun crafts and a makerspace that my family enjoys using. The staff are always helpful and attentive towards one's interests, and they handle the diverse range of people who access the central library. The atmosphere is welcoming and comfortable. And finally, libraries are one of the last places in modern society where free culture and access still exist. They are kingdoms of wisdom, curiosity, connection, and expression. And since moving here a year ago, I've fallen in love with the Midland Library for the exploration, learning, connection, and fun it has provided me. Next slide, please. The Midland Library has worked very hard to contain all costs that are under our control. The budget request this year is for an increase of $130,245. And there are 2 main drivers to this increase to our budget. The first is that staff salaries have increased by 9.4%. The increase is due to a legal requirement for the library to be on the town pay grid. $29,600 decrease in revenue from the debt and library reserves. The library depleted our reserves in previous years to help offset some of the staff wages and increase to the pay grid. We are able to partially offset some of this revenue loss through 3 one-time donations or credits the library received this year. Next slide, please. So this demonstrates some of the changes that we have seen in the budget line by line. I'd like to note as well that interdepartmental transfers are up slightly, and these are charges that we receive from the town for the valuable services you provide us. And insurance went down by almost 18% due to the town changing their service provider, which we very much appreciate. Next slide, please. I just want to note that this year our capital budget request is only $5,000, and this is just in case we need to repair or replace some of the technology that we have in the library. Next slide, please. This graph demonstrates the library and the library board only control 16% or $307,000 of our entire budget. The remaining budget are fixed, and some of them are shown by the town, like the pay grid that we have to adhere to. Lines under our control within that $307,000 include security and alarm systems, telephone and Wi-Fi services, elevator inspection and maintenance, fire alarm systems, workplace software, loanable materials, and grounds maintenance. And as you can see, these costs are essential to enable the library to provide safe, accessible, and quality services to the community. Next slide, please. This graph shows the changes in expenses when we break out library-controlled expenses and fixed expenses since 2021. Fixed expenses have increased by 47%, and library-controlled expenses has decreased by 9%. Next slide, please. adjusted for inflation over the same period of time, show the library controlled expenses are down by almost 30% and fixed expenses are up by almost 20% over inflation. Next slide, please. We anticipate a few more challenges over the next few years. Alignment with the Town of Midland pay grid will take an additional 2 years to implement. Last year's flat budget caused the library to decrease opening hours, the reduction of 1 full-time staff, and the elimination of interlibrary loans. This budget does not allow for the return of any of these resources or services. With a more robust volunteer group, we will be able to expand our services while containing our costs. However, due to the requirement of management and time to do these services, it's putting constraints on our already depleted full-time staff complement. And we have remained a vibrant library and an essential part of this community. And this has been made possible by the dedication and commitment of our staff at the Midland Public Library and the careful oversight of our board. However, library-controlled portion of the budget has been stretched to the point where there's a risk that unforeseen or surprise costs will not be able to be accommodated in the budget. And finally, the revenue that we receive from the Ontario government has remained stagnant for over 25 years. Next slide, please. We do see a few opportunities. We remain committed to actively seeking grant funding and opportunities to fundraise for the library. We're highly focused on building strong communication partnerships to maximize the impact of our services and to seek any other opportunities that we can find over the coming year. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Trish. Who'd like to go first? Councillor McDonald.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Gordon. I don't have a question because your presentation and your paper notes that you gave us ahead of time are very thorough. And I appreciate your delivery of excellent service and meeting the challenges in many aspects for the Midland community.
Thank you.
So keep up the good work and we'll do what we can here. But one question did come to mind in regards to the provincial dollar segment. Is there a workforce ahead to try and get them to realize that they're missing the boat here on helping communities?
Yes, Ontario Library Association and the Federation of Ontario Public Libraries speak to them as much as they can annually. They're continually pushing this for us. So we have 2 organizations that do push this at the provincial level and the federal level, but there has been little response. There has been some investment in First Nations libraries and in smaller communities getting them Wi-Fi access, but that's the limit of where they've extended things lately.
Councillor Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. Thank you, Trish, for the presentation. And in conversations prior to this meeting, I know we've had some conversations, and I know you've been doing some great work at the library and your staff and so forth, and trying to keep your costs controlled as much as possible. I'm gonna circle back to the funding from the county, the county for the support worker. So the $70,000 that you got in 2025, they're duplicating that in 2026. Do they ever account in for inflation? Because that was going towards wages, right? So our wages are going up 9.4%. Inflation has gone up. Wages are going up right across the board. Does this funding, or do you go back to the county and say, hey, listen, you know what? They're not, blind to these increases at the county. I'm sure their paychecks have gone up. So has this grant, that I imagine it's a grant that you apply to your staffing, right? Yep. So is there any conversation about this 70,000 increasing for this social worker?
Well, in the idea of containing costs, I actually reach out to the organization that we work with, And they said that they will come in at the same rate as they did last year. So we don't have to ask for an increase this year for the same level of service.
Thank you. And then one other question. When you're talking about fixed costs and library control costs, just wondering why you wouldn't include in your fixed costs your staffing.
Those are in the.
Sorry, in the controlled costs.
In the library control
Yeah,
cost?
the costs that you control. Why wouldn't your staffing be in that category rather than the fixed costs? You have them in the fixed costs.
Mhm.
So yeah, go ahead.
Because we have to be on the town pay grid. So we don't decide what our staff pay is. It's based on the town pay grid. We can decide how many staff we have. And in fact, we did decrease our full-time staff complement by one person last year. But we don't, we go through your benefits, we go through we work with you through all of those things. So it is controlled at that level.
Thank you. And I wasn't getting at actually the town portion of it. I'm just saying, like, in your employees, whether you have 13, 15, 20 employees, you have the ability to control that,
Yes.
right? So that's not fixed. So and then with that, once you have a certain amount, if you hire an employee or delete an employee, your fixed costs either go up or down. So the library and the board would have control over those potential costs. That's all I was getting at. So, but you have it in the category of fixed costs. So that could be under your control. That's the only reason why I kind of in the slide, it wouldn't technically in my world, it wouldn't be a fixed cost because I can control that. If I can't afford, if I'm budget restraints and I have to make a decision, then it's that would be under a controlled cost that I would have control over.
I see your point.
Thank you.
We can control the number of people, but we can't control what we pay them. Yes.
Maybe just to sort of dovetail onto that, when the municipality goes through its pay equity reviews, which we have to do, that extends also to the library staff too. And of course, library staff are traditionally female. Not that there aren't, males in the library system, but it's a majority female based employment. So pay equity tends to, every time that has to rebalance, you'll find those cost changes, which generally mean increasing pay, will trickle through to the library. So Councillor Meredith is right. In one hand, you can control the number of people you need to deliver the services you provide, but you don't have that control if we're doing a pay equity exercise, and it that accounts for basically the large degree of the change in your salaries and benefits this time around. So we do this to you. But I mean, of course, we don't want to underpay the women who are employed primarily in the library system either. So that's always a bit of a challenge. But so I can see from your lens, these become more like a fixed cost rather than a library controlled. But to Councillor Meredith's point, ultimately, you and your board decide your staffing level to deliver the level of services you provide. Which I must say that I've heard feedback from the community that the library seems to be more focused on core library deliverables. I know that's something that's changed quite a lot. It's not just books anymore and magazines.
Yeah.
Film strip projectors, like all the things we grew up with 20, 30 years ago. The library is so much more than that now. But at the same token, I can also recognize efforts where, you guys maybe embrace some more social type programs that weren't working out well for you. You weren't getting the return on that investment, or it was causing you more problems than it was potentially solving. And I see you've taken initiative to remedy or change some of those services on your own, which is good to see too. And so I'm getting feedback from the community as well that it has a different feel to it as a result of that. And you're really focusing on, what has become the new core deliverables for libraries and communities these days. So those efforts aren't going unnoticed.
And actually, we have some data to back that up. So year to date, incidents in the library are down 24%. And we hope to see that continue in 2026.
Oh, Councillor Meredith. take another stab at it? Anybody else got it? It's all yours.
Sorry. So, and then one additional question. You mentioned there's going to be on top of this year's increase to get to the pay grid. There's 2 additional years, so 2027, 2028. So we be expected to have, is it at a rate of like 9 or 10%? Do you know that offhand, or how does that work?
I don't know it offhand. It should diminish every year moving forward. There's certain steps. So as people hit the top step, there will be fewer people accelerating to the next one. So it should diminish every year over year.
Okay, thank you.
Until the next round of equity. Which is what, how many years is that? Is that a 6-year cycle? Anyone know? 3, 4, 3 years? Every 3-year cycle. Yeah. So. All right. Well, thank you very much, Trish. Appreciate the presentation, and this will be discussed in greater detail when we hit our 3 days of deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next up to the mic is Route 93 or Route 93. Oh no, sorry. I have a motion. Moved by Councillor Ball, seconded by Councillor Meredith, that the presentation provided by Trish Hayes, CEO, Chief Librarian of Midland Public Library, be received for information, and that the Midland Public Library 2026 budget request in the amount of $1,710,403 be deferred for consideration during the 2026 budget deliberation scheduled for December 9th, 10th, and 11th, 2025. Council, all those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Now it's Route 93.
Thank you. Is this on already? Nice to see everyone again. I think I saw lots of you last week. So we're back. It's been not even a year since we talked to you, and we've accomplished so much at Route 93. So I'm excited to present to you our 2026 funding request, but also talk about some things that have happened at Route 93. So next slide, please. I want to start with a story about Melanie Losi. She's a local business owner, and she's growing at a rapid pace. She uses Route 93 weekly. Her staff, she's done interviews for new staffing. She's done skills training in the space, and she has consistent staff meetings there. Without Route 93, she wouldn't be able to accomplish how quickly she's growing, and she needs the space. So this just goes to say how important not only what we're doing is in the skills training and the learning and the networking, but the physical space is important to our community. Later, we're going to look at the KPIs, and already in the short time that we've had that space, over 256 people have come in to use that space and work there and engage in business. Next slide, please. So there are local challenges. The more businesses we can support, the better for our town. Businesses navigate significant challenge and changes right now, and we're here to support them doing that. You know, all the tariff things that are happening. AI has been introduced into our world. There's a lot happening, and we're here to support that. We also took a look at the types of businesses that Midland provides specifically. Healthcare is top, retail trade, manufacturing, hospitality, and construction. We feel healthcare is pretty well supported in the way the foundation supports that. And we're here to support all the rest. And it really goes to say that as much as we have a significant focus on manufacturing, construction, and innovation, there's still a need to support small business in our community. They're a huge employer, and there's a natural kind of pull from that we can see our small business community coming out and engaging in the services that we're providing. Next slide, please. So more than ever, businesses and entrepreneurs in Midland need community support. Next slide, please. Our mission, since we've now completed our strategic planning and our 2026 planning, our mission is to bring business owners, industry leaders, and communities together to connect, innovate, and create lasting growth for a resilient region. Next slide, please. Some additional impacts, some shorter stories here. Annette has an up-and-coming new business, AI HR app, and she's currently receiving mentorship through Route 93. I know everybody here has heard about the Water Museum. They came out to one of our Thirsty Thursday events and met someone that does AI interactive art. And there is potential of them bringing, just through that connection, bringing a very cool art exhibit to Midland. So we're waiting to hear how that comes along. But that was just a natural connection coming out to one of our events. And as everybody know, Event Horizon Hobbies, they've been here for a few years now. Sarah Ann, she has left her corporate job to dive in full force into this business, and she's now looking to put a growth plan together. She's come into to Route 93 to be able to get that support and direction. And she also has a large event that I'm sure our community and tourism here will hear about soon. So this is real people doing real things in our community, real connections happening, and it wouldn't really be happening if we didn't facilitate those. So Route 93 is doing the job it set out to do. Next slide, please. Gary Beutler is a local, I guess he's retired now, but he had a local successful business and he's successfully exited from that. It became e-commerce and served globally. He received mentorship through Barry and the Sandbox and HBEC. And now looking back, he wonders what would have happened in our community if he could have received that support here? What could have happened to the other businesses here? Less closures, more growth. One of our major focuses in mentorship here, it provides practical guidance, reduces fear and overwhelm, builds confidence and capability, supports new entrepreneurs, and helps navigate the local economy. So as much as we deliver on networking and other connections, mentorship will be a huge check mark on our list to do come January 2026. And you can look for a more, we are doing mentorship already, but a more focused plan around that. Next slide, please. So we did ask the community exactly what they're looking for, the business community from the Innovation Hub. 73% wanted connection. And this is kind of was the fastest to be able to deliver on as we still work towards our programming. We can see activities happening with our Thirsty Thursday events, our GBBC, a hub day that happened last week was very successful. People want community and business support, and this is immediately happening, and we can see that. 40% of the respondents to our survey, and there's about 100, we're just shy of 100 at this point, plan to actually engage and use the Route 93 space. So that's a pretty high demand for the physical space of the Innovation Hub. More than 50% of survey takers want lunch and learns, micro-learning sessions, and peer-led discussions, and we've applied that to our 2026 program planning. 88% of respondents want to stay connected, involved, and engage in what we're doing. Next slide, please. Some comments were mentoring and coaching to make each business stronger. Next, please. Help with networking and growth. Next, please. Mentorship is a huge benefit. Business coaching would be a great asset. So with that, we took that survey feedback and we built out our strategic direction. Next slide, please. We have 4 principles that we follow. Knowledge builds the confidence and capacity businesses need to thrive. Meaningful connections spark growth and resilience across industries. Access to collaborative space sparks productivity and innovation, and bringing people, ideas, and resources together builds opportunity and drives a vibrant regional economy. These principles build on what our strategic channels are, which is how we actually create action and deliver on reaching these goals. Next slide, please. And those strategic channels are programming, connections, this physical space, and opportunities. Most of our budget really goes to that space and programs. However, opportunities is one of those kind of silent success stories. So that's when we hear about something happening over here and we hear about something happening over here, and we connect those people and amplify the work that they're doing. So it's really great when those things happening, and it is already happening as a show through what's happening at the Water Museum and if that comes to fruition. Next slide, please. We have a great board of directors, and currently we now have a 4 days a week Innovation Hub manager. I think many of you will know Kim's name. She is a local business owner, was in the past. She's very connected to our community. Next slide, please. Some 2025 KPIs, which we've got some numbers in the Q4 column there, but Q4 is not over. And we really only opened our doors in Q2. So considering how new we are, I consider this pretty successful, and I'm looking forward to growing this further. So new skills development, training, and mentorship. We've had 195 people participate in new skills and workshops. 253, that's what I mentioned before, people have actually been in the space, used the space for their own work, for a meeting, and things like that. We have 51 registered hub clients, which means they're working through a program and will either decide if they need to fit into mentorship or if they need to just be in our networking stream, if they end up in a coaching stream as well. So we're working through supporting all of them. 210 people have attended our networking events, and the list continues. And we did have some funding success throughout 2025. This does not consider, like, I'm not bringing forward municipal funding in this. I'm just showing some sponsorship dollars and some grants that have been awarded to us. Next slide, please. So every other Thursday morning, we have networking. Once a month, we have Thirsty Thursday networking. You can see hub use is happening every day across the board. Next slide, please. We can also see Midland today has created a relationship. They've got some business services that they'd like to offer. They've often been using our space. We deliver workshops. And last week we had our first hub day, which is to connect people and skill up and let people kind of connect, learn from each other. And it was a great day where women connected. They were all entrepreneur, all owned a business. Some were very new in their stage of business ownership, and some had a little bit more experience. Natural conversation was occurring, natural connections, a lot of motivation to move forward. And we saw people that will probably connect outside of Route 93 to get services from each other, as some have skills that the other one needs, which is exactly what these people need to be able to run successful businesses and grow them further. Next slide, please. So what we're asking for you today is $75,000, 50% of that being foundational operational support, and 25,000 specifically for delivering on programming. So the difference is 50,000 that goes towards rent of our building, staff, things like that, where 25 is specifically for programming. So whether we are paying mentors, if we are hosting a networking event, if we need supplies, we have an upcoming youth leadership workshop that's happening tomorrow. It's in collaboration with Georgian Bay District Secondary School. It is to bring attention to the business opportunities in our community. Right now, there are 25 students registered, 15 are Indigenous, and there is a goal of the high school to increase Indigenous enrollment in their business study programming. So far we see that as a big success, that's how many people we'll see tomorrow. And it's programs like that, so paying an honorarium to the speaker, and also supplies and some snacks for the students that will be showing up. So that's when we talk about what it is to actually deliver on those programs. Next slide, please. Our 2026 programs that fall under that funding are rolling out our mentorship, which will start as a cohort mentorship program and then move into one-on-one mentorship, continued networking and connection events, coaching, workshops, youth leadership, which I've just spoken about, roundtables, which is more discussion-based and supporting each other with a facilitator at the table, some funding guidance, helping businesses navigate grants and funding opportunities. And there is a tourism social media project that we continue to deliver through the 2026 that was funded through a grant from Simcoe County Tourism. Next slide, please. So to break down that request, just so you're aware of how much your funding is compared to what our overall costing is, our foundational funding for operational expenses, 50,000 is less than 30% of what we actually need. And in terms of our program expense and deliverables, 25,000 is less than 25%. So we still have our work cut out to go get the rest of our funding. I will make clear that some of this is directly connected to some grants. So for example, in our operational expense, we have summer student funding, like costs for that student, but it's directly responsive to if we receive the grant for that summer student. So if we don't, then we would see that budget go down. Additionally, we'll look for putting in a grant application for facade improvements with the BIA. Again, if we're denied that, then we would see that budget on the operational expense go down as well. So some things are directly tied to funding success in this budget. Next slide, please. So just to make it clear, so you can see where the costing is, operational, staff, rent, and general operations. And then you'll see the delivery of our programs. Mentorship and coaching is currently costed at the highest. If we don't achieve all of our targets for funding, we will see some reduction in those areas. But it is fairly reasonable to look at the cost of delivering these programs. Next slide, please. And how we'll reach that is a number of initiatives to reach our full funding. So we're asking you today for $75,000. We continue to go for more municipal funding and service-based agreements with other communities. We are looking to answer the ROD provincial funding grant application that is due in February. The Regional Tariff Response Initiative, I'm working currently with Dave Archer to put together a program and bring tariff programs to support our community here. Other grants, we've reached out to Midland Rotary. We're waiting to hear from them. I mentioned the facade grant. And then we do have a target to achieve $80,000 in sponsorship. I am happy to say that we did get our first event sponsor last week. So there is a community value that is being seen, and we will continue to build on that. And then eventually, as we check the marks off and we can move on to more priorities, we will be putting together a revenue structure, membership fees, and things like that. We do have to build value to make sure that when people want to pay membership fees, they see the value in what we're delivering. So it is a stepped process, but we are working on it. Next slide, please. We are also supportive of the town of Midland's move to create an economic development strategy. And we hope that if that is granted and you work on that, that we are partners in developing that and then partners in executing the plans of what comes out of that. Thank you. Next slide. So to finish it off, Gary Boyler, who we talked about earlier, who had the successful business and still is in our community, he feels establishing the Route 93 Innovation Hub will provide local entrepreneurs with the mentorship, expertise, and support they need to innovate, grow, and strengthen the overall business community. This initiative will play a vital role in ensuring the continued prosperity of Midland. Thank you very much. Next slide, please. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Nicole. We'll kick things off with Councillor Patel.
Thank you, Your Worship. So thank you, Ms. French, for coming in and giving this knockout presentation you just did. So if we can bring that slide back with the 2026 initiative you have, if you could, please. So what that slide is basically you guys are a mini university, mentoring, and also bringing in, youth for future business opportunities for youth, helping them become entrepreneurs. So the value of Route 93 is tremendous. We have a great board. We have Mr. Potter and Marcia Dahl present here, and it's incredible. Like I've met them a few times, and so the support you're asking is very little compared to what the value it presents for our community. And I wish that the surrounding townships would understand that value and get on board, because Route 93 is basically a LinkedIn in real life. What you guys are providing with all the different programming you have throughout the week, help businesses connect. So again, keep up the good work, and we're hoping that more and more businesses open up in this town, because we have 5,000 homes that we are approving, and we're going to need more jobs. So it's important for Route 93 to continue the work they're doing. Thank you.
Councillor Bull.
Thank you. I don't have a question. I just wanted to say I've been a big supporter of you since the beginning up here, fighting for the underdog, I felt like, for a while. But I saw that vision that you had at the beginning, and it's so nice to see you come in here and show us what you've done, show us the KPIs, and that you are moving to where you wanted to be. You are moving to that buy-in that you're going to get with the same as Sandbox, having membership fees. You're going to be self-sufficient. I have no doubt about it. we just need to help you get there, which is what you've been asking for a while. So I'm glad that we helped last year and hopefully we can continue to help. I think it's really important, especially expanding our local businesses. Those are directly related to our community, their families in our community, and they're the ones that want to give back to their community. So we're actually fostering a lot more just by putting efforts into those small businesses. So I'm a big fan and I just wanted to say thank you. And I'm glad that you can bring such a great presentation so everybody can see the vision as well. So
Thank you.
Councillor Major.
That was a great presentation and just hope everything goes your way moving forward. And I think it will, and keep up the good work.
Working hard. We'll get there.
So just a little a comment about the hard work we are doing ever since the rebrand, which is far more than a rebrand. It's a complete reimagination of the old EDCNS. And with Route 93, the value proposition is completely different. We've turned the board has turned us into old organization on its head and started up something truly new and exciting. And we are serving our neighboring communities, members who live and pay taxes in our neighboring communities, who work in Midland or who are starting up business in our neighboring municipalities. They are being served by this. So the board's goal is to try and, get out there and show our neighbors who were, as reluctant as we were back at the beginning of this term to continue funding what was the EDCNS, just because they didn't feel there was any demonstrable return on investment. We can show that now. The KPIs are proving that, and our trajectory for the next year is going to prove that. So the goal is really in the next term that, whoever sits around the council tables in North Simcoe, the four big municipalities that would be normally contributing to this, will see the value and look at coming back as partners, because they're getting the value delivered to their businesses and their residents anyway, innately. And right now it's Midland picking up the tab for that. So, we're not asking people for their ID at the door. We're not only servicing local Midland people. So we know we're providing this excellent service. And one of the challenges is getting to the neighboring municipalities and dispelling the rumor or the myth that this is overlapping with the same kind of services are delivered by the county or delivered by any number of other agencies, which one could have made that case to some degree with EDCNS, but it certainly isn't the case with Route 93 and the Innovation Hub. So it's trying to get that message clearly communicated to the political folks in our neighboring municipalities. This is a different animal with measurable KPIs that we're delivering on, evidence-based outcomes, and not really no risk at all on helping fund this initiative. The more we can do, you saw how the pie works, the more programming we can deliver, right? The cost of the building and staffing and everything is relatively flat. As we kick off, we can just run more programming and deliver more services. So that is a challenge for the board. I realize that I think you are going around this budget cycle to try and bestow these virtues and change some hearts and minds with some of our former partners of the old EDCNS. I wish you luck. I truly believe you can do it with this deck. But if it doesn't happen this term, I'm very confident it will next term, because we'll have 2 good years under us. Definitely will have gotten our legs. Maybe then we'll get some of the matching funding, but we keep going for it. A swing and a miss is not nothing to be ashamed of. There's way more demand than there is capacity for the government funds. So we'll just keep on applying and hope that our neighboring municipalities see the value. If not this year, that'd be awesome if they did, then into next term. So we could really grow this organization into a real powerhouse serving North Simcoe. So thank you, Nicole, for all the extra work you're doing on this. I know we're going to hear from you with your other hat on next, but there perhaps have inspired more questions or commentary. But anyway, it's been a real pleasure, an absolute pleasure to be on the board. I can't take credit for anything that's going on other than supporting you guys emotionally. The work that the board does is incredible. Just how much heavy lifting happens in those morning meetings we have, and all the work that happens every month in between those meetings. So thank you so much for all of that. Councillor McDonald.
Okay.
My goodness, do you want me to start over? Not a problem. I usually notice. My question was, are there other agencies in the area that offer similar services and programs? And as I mentioned, when you're talking about what you're offering, I think of the library. And has there ever been any thought of working more closely with the library in their space and in what they hope to deliver in the community as well?
Well, I will admit Trish has definitely reached out and I have not yet sat down and worked, oh, she's not here anymore, and worked out some sort of understanding of what that could look like for us. I just put that on our priorities right now, but it is to come. We have talked, we have said that we should meet and see what the potential is there for any collaboration. As for other agencies, our relationship with the Business Center and the Chamber of Commerce is growing. I would say it's positive. They've just reached out to ask if we want to share a booth at the upcoming home show to really make clear to our community what each organization does. So there is, no one's kind of running the other direction. Everyone's coming together and wants to align on, hey, what are you doing? We even have a story where someone did get referred to Route 93. We were able to book a meeting, but as we kind of looked over their intake form and what they were looking for, we realized, we don't think this is a match for us. Kim called Lois, and she was able to actually attend that meeting, which meant this business owner in construction didn't have to be, waste of time sitting with us saying we can't actually do the thing that you're looking for. We don't give out funding, we don't do loans, but Lois was actually at the table. So he left empowered and motivated instead of feeling like he had to make another phone call and book another meeting with someone. So the collaboration is there, and we're going to see that grow because it's definitely happening. And I think the Chamber of Commerce just reached out to say they'd like to hold a training event in our space. So we just, that's collaboration. Will we do the same training? I think that's what we'll work on together to make sure that like both organizations occasionally, ours is I think is a little stronger towards the skills development side. They still dabble in kind of the marketing training side, like it's a social media thing. So we can just make sure that it's not overlap in the actual training, but happy to see them reaching out to use the space.
Thank you, Ms. French, for your presentation and your hard work, and I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Councilor Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. Thank you, Nicole, for the presentation. It was very simple, easy to understand. You knocked it out of the park, like Councilor Patel said. I just want to reflect back. We were sitting here about last year, and we were contemplating. Well, prior to EDCNS or Route 93, but it was EDCNS. It didn't look like you'd be here any longer. And we gave you a chance. We gave we had $50,000. I think it was 86,000 at that point. 50,000 was put away from the previous year, and then we agreed to. I think Councillor Ball worked out the numbers to be up to about $86,000. So, I mean, it's the best decision I think this council has made to save, which was then EDCNS and now Route 93, and the direction. We had a meeting this morning, and I did positive comments, and the direction this is heading. I have every confidence that the building blocks that are happening today, they're just going to keep on getting stronger and stronger. And I truly believe that other municipalities around here, the direction that Route 93 is going, will be on board and will regret, leaving Route 93. Just a small business, just to have that mentorship there. In small business these days, with the environment the economy's in, you can open up in 1 month and 6 months later, you can close your doors. The board, is a brilliant board, brilliant business minds on this board. And I'm not included in that. I'm just right. But I'm on the board. They brought me in. I think you brought me in about halfway last year. And typically I just sit back and listen, and I am truly impressed on the direction this is going. And prior to the budgetary ask of 75,000, Bill and I said, well, you know what, come in around $50,000, and then you came in at 75. I'm thinking, right, because it's everything's lean. We're cutting. And staff and Mayor Gordon, the mayor's budget, and he's been clear. But to do this, your ask is very small for 75,000. That investment of is hands down, sign the check, because it is very little for what you're producing and what you're doing. So kudos to the board. Kudos to it's basically you and Kim right now running the show, at the front lines right now, with great, when it comes to AI with Marcia, and just the savings that we discussed this morning in the board. So that's the type of thing that, when we have that type of thinking on the board, there's no reason why we can't be successful and get the funding that you need, and hopefully in next year and years to come that will be stronger and stronger. But great work all the way around. You deserve it, and keep it up. Keep going. Looking forward to your presentations coming in the future. But actually, I might not be here next year, so at budget time, right? So till October, anyways. So, but good luck and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I've got a motion here moved by Councillor East, seconded by Councillor Major, that the presentation provided by Nicole French, Executive Director of Route 93 Innovation Hub, be received for information, and that the Route 93 Innovation Hub 2026 budget request in the amount of $75,000 be deferred for consideration during the 2026 budget deliberation scheduled for December 9th, 10th, and 11th, 2025. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. All right, next hat. BIA, our Business Improvement Association.
Yes, hello. So my name is Megan Marchallon. I am co-chair to chair Nicole French. An honor to work alongside her. Her leadership, everything she touches turns to gold. So it's been an honor to work with her
often.
And like Route 93, the BIA has also had big successes this year that we will be presenting to you today. So yeah, if you can bring up the slides, please. Awesome. So we are the BIA, the Business Improvement Area of downtown. So we act on behalf of the member merchants, restaurants, businesses, and property owners alongside the town of Midland to ensure that the downtown Midland is a safe, vibrant, thriving, prosperous community in the heart of Georgian Bay. Next slide, please. So far we have me and Nicole, Michael Selwood, our treasurer, Bill Meredith, hi Bill, as our town council rep, and Roberta Douglas with Royalty, and Sarah Kenny from the Georgian Bay Books. Next slide, please. So some 2025 updates that we have accomplished so far this year. So our beautification and signage, our lovely bollard covers, which are they bring a lot of happiness to the downtown visitors, and so those are kind of art initiative here. We like to we're focusing now right now on art. So we had the mural fest. We wanted to do the art banners alongside that, and we also have some planters. So that's kind of one of our main pillars is beautification, and we really take that seriously. We want to have a beautiful downtown, and obviously signs to bring people down here. Next slide, please. If you want to elaborate on anything, go ahead. So yes, beautificate. We also have our speaker system, which has been successfully installed and used this summer. And for the events that we have had, it hooks up to a microphone. So that's also really helpful to get people to come downtown. And that was on a grant that we were given. So not even any of our tax levy money, it's a grant. So that's a huge bonus.
I might add that the town may have been receiving some comments from community members on the speaker system. We're as responsive as we can be, immediate changing, whether it's emails that come in, messages, someone running down and making alterations to that. We've had comments on the type of music. So we are being responsive. We have changed the hours. We will continue to kind of be flexible in understanding how this system works and how the community responds to it. At one point, if the town needs to sit down with us to actually talk about, we don't know actually all the comments you're getting, but if you do need to reach out and let us know, we can have a meeting to discuss what we think it should be changed to. But we are pretty consistently in there trying to make some alterations to all the comments we get.
Yeah. And it's pretty simple, straightforward, so easy fix. The technology is easy to work with. Yeah, I've had a great experience so far. Next slide, please. So the beautification and signage also extends to our patio program, which we worked with artist Holly Archer this year to install beautiful art on all of our patios. And yeah, that has been, I think, well received.
I think so. There's
Yeah.
been mixed feelings, and I think it's each to their own and whether they think these patios, the block system, which is completely Canadian, is super attractive, or maybe some people don't like it. Regardless, the point of the project was to create a beautiful downtown that is very inviting to pedestrians. You'll see in our 2026 plans, we are planning to work more closely with the town to develop a patio program that's more aligned on, hey, what is this actually going to look like? What are the rules? Do we want all patios to be inside against buildings, or do we want them all to be in parking spaces? Do we want a limit of how many parking spaces? The list kind of goes on and on. All those questions you're thinking about, that's what we want to work with the town to come to an agreement on. And we're talking about meeting in January to kick that off. But they are beautiful. They were engaging. They caught people's eyes, and there were people sitting on patios. So.
Oh yeah, and they're also safe too. This kind of plan is it helps people to not, run onto the road. So yeah, dogs, children, a lot of times people want to, and people drive really fast downtown. So I think it is, at least in my experience, I had one of the larger patios downtown, and families being able to have their children sitting outside eating lunch. It definitely helps them to feel safe while they're enjoying a meal with their animals and children as well. So next slide, please. More beautification and signage. So as you can see downtown, we have been lit up. We just had, our Christmas tree lighting, and we have our snowflakes are installed. Still working on installing this guy, but it'll get there. And just the more beautification downtown, the better. Next slide, please. So we've had some promotion and events. So like I just said, the Christmas tree lighting, which was a huge success, and we were able to use our sound system for that. We had a very successful car show in partnership with the Mural Fest, which was a huge success. And Friday Night Lights.
This summer, we had achieved grants for 3 summer students, and they worked on organizing these. So we were very happy with that. We'll see if we continue with that many summer students. And Mini Monster March continues to be a growing event, and we really do mean growing. We are going to need to find some candy sponsors to continue with this, and there probably is going to be requests to access more sidewalk space, really move bollards. I don't know if we need road closures. That's not what I'm saying, but something that kind of creates a little bit different atmosphere downtown. So an event that is definitely continues to grow year after year. We're talking, I think, 700 kids last year, and this year we were hitting the 1,000, I think, mark in terms of handing out candy. So our community definitely engages and likes this event.
Yeah, and we receive feedback, and every year have been improving these events with the feedback that we've received from patrons. So so yeah. Next slide, please.
One of our biggest collaborative successes with you, I would argue, is the Waypoint program. We have all year long now attention to clean our streets. We have a great transitional working program. For those of you that could attend the Housing and Health Symposium, you would have heard one of our team members speak. And the impact of being able to engage in a job that is fulfilling like this and independent from the organizations that support them has been a huge impact for them, and let alone the heartwarming impact for them, but just we don't have business owners complaining about garbage in the street. We don't have nearly as many complaints. So just the cleanliness, the ability to react right away to an issue. They're ready to do anything. This is not just garbage collection. They are ready to collect the leaves, do some general maintenance items, in some cases, support, what's that? Help with the bollard covers and things like that. So they're here. I hope they're here to stay. We do have a 2026 ask to continue supporting this program. I can't imagine us moving away from this now that our town has received this kind of support in its cleanliness.
It's mutually beneficial for sure. Yeah, it's been great. And the summer students love to.
Yeah,
that was one of their main jobs.
Yes, because
and
summer
they were able to do even more than with that, a lot of that time not being taken up from cleaning the downtown. So
yeah, summer students used to be the ones out cleaning every day, and they didn't have to do that this year. So next slide, please. A big achievement, huge actually, if you really look at other towns and how they've had to work together and how long it's taken them to come up with an MOU. We did this within the year. I think we could throw 6 to 8 months out there and coming to agreement in what is clear tasks for the town to complete and what is our responsibility at the BIA. So we now have that working agreement. I think it makes our lives easier. I hope the town is seeing it that way as well. And in reflection of that, we are also now operating with a work back schedule that can be aligned and delivered from the operations side on the town so that they can match it to their operation and work back schedule as well. So this will continue. And then I think in 2 years from now, we need to revisit that and just see that, hey, everything's still the way that it should be. We still align on the responsibilities of each organization. Next slide, please. Okay, I'll quickly run through some of these. I believe these shouldn't be a surprise, as I think Bill Meredith on our behalf kind of put these requests forward. We are asking for a slight increase in supporting the cleaning team or the Waypoint team. That's only because when we originally budgeted last year, we didn't account for some of the additional equipment that was needed. Just today, we were talking about that we wanted not a leaf blower, but the bag sucking system so they can go get all the leaves off the street, whatever that's called. So there's just been more need for equipment, cleaning equipment and things like that. So we are asking that you help to afford that, as our budgets are pretty limited to do that. So we are still committing the equal amount to that project. Next slide, please. I'll do it. Bollard covers continue to be a topic that is discussed, whether it's done in 2026 or pushed off another year. The request is that the town support and help us in getting a new set of these. They do not have to look the same. They do not have to be the same, but coming to some agreement on what this will be, and also seeing if that we can get something that's all seasons, all year long. The community, just as soon as they're removed, all we see is people bashing into them. And then all the business owners get complaints, and then we see things online again about not wanting to come downtown because of the parking. It's crazy. It's almost like immediate. As soon as they're gone, you can see the comments on social media. So we are looking for support there. Next slide, please. Not only the covers for them, but asking the town to take another look at how we really look at these bollards. They're designed to be moved. Instead of, we talk about road closures, often and how expensive that is, when really in some cases we could just move the bollards out and we could create an activation on our sidewalks. We could make great sidewalk Sundays on long weekends, all pedestrians. We could do vendor tables out on one side. We don't necessarily need to close the street. We don't even have to move all the bollards, but just creating some pedestrian activations is something that would be beneficial to our town. So working with operations to request that on a more frequent basis would be something we would like to look into. Next slide, please. The car show, kind of the test happened this year and it was a success. And now the request is to create a bigger event, and that is in collaboration with the town. We're actually asking, we do not have a big enough staff to really do this properly. So it would be asking the town to step up the resources with our support, some dollar support from us, and seeing if we can put this forth on the same weekend as the Mural Fest. Next slide, please. There's a request for new garbage bins. I think if you've been downtown, you can see the state that the current garbage bins are in. We don't need these ones. This is just a picture to say, hey, garbage bins, please. I believe that was already requested. We don't know the dollar value of that item. Next slide, please. And I already mentioned that we'll be working with the town in January to set forth what the patio program plans will be. So for those of you that maybe didn't like an outcome of how the patio program worked this year, we'll be looking to address that. So any comments before January that we can sit at the table would be great to discuss.
I will say that putting the patios closer to the buildings does take up more parking spaces, which just keeping that in mind as people are debating whether or not they should be close to the building or in the parking space. If they are closer to the building and the size requirement is the same, then more parking spaces will be taken up, which again is a hot topic. Parking, no parking. So yeah.
Next slide, please. So I will close with, as a special request, we are not requesting any additional change to our levy. It will stay the same, which is at $175,000 on the dot that is distributed in 4 equal payments throughout the year. So just to make that clear for the budget line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you for your presentation. I have 2 questions. The bollard covers, they were originally done through a grant, is that correct? So they're $8,000 to $10,000. How long do they last if we need new ones?
We are still learning that. We put them out for the 2nd year in a row, and we haven't thrown them out yet. We do still have them. Yeah, it was kind of a creative idea on how we went to a sign shop and they came up with an idea of how this could be done. It's not your traditional bollard cover. You can look for things like bollard socks. There's other solutions correlated, just folded in a triangle or a square. So we haven't priced out those other solutions. That's the one that we did the first time. And we still, maybe they could last 1 more season. I'm not sure. We do have to replace a couple. Some of them get banged up a little bit, but so far so good.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor East.
Thank you, through your worship. I just wanted to first of all say thank you for all your hard work. My store's been down there for a little over 15 years, and I can tell you that I've never seen the downtown so full of life. But on top of that, we're also seeing residents speaking to the safety of it. So the programs like the patio program, which is absolutely beautiful, and I want to personally thank you for bring the value forward, because I actually see customers come in that I've never seen before. And tourists speak to how beautiful it was, but how safe it was. So the thing is, what we're seeing now, because of all the life that you've brought downtown, we're seeing tourists walk around feeling safe. We're seeing residents come out of their house and shopping now at our stores because they feel safe, and it feels beautiful. On top of that, the program that we have with the workers and Waypoint, we're creating not only value in themselves, but purpose. So now they feel that they have a purpose in life. Everything that you're doing downtown is home run after home run after home run. And I just want to personally thank you because I know that you and I have had conversations about the patios, but you've opened my eyes to see the value in them, all right? And I can personally say thank you and witness what I've witnessed from the clients sitting at your patios coming over to our stores. It's all feeding all of our employees. And the thing is, with all of this growth, with all of the beautification that you're putting forward, we're not only keeping our own doors open, but we're also keeping the ability to provide a future, a roof over our employees' heads and foods on their table. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I can't thank you enough.
I'm so happy to hear that, Sheldon.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Councillor Major.
So thanks for that great presentation. I think I'll start with Mary and her crew down there at 6 in the morning, getting the plants ready. And then I really, really support the gang from Waypoint rolling through the main street because it's kind of neat. I probably drive around town more than anyone else. And to see the boys out there just cleaning up as the day goes on. So that's a real good look if you happen to come into Midland and you see the streets being cleaned like right then and there. I support the patios. The only thing for me personally, I think Thanksgiving weekend should be, that's it. Not after that's my own personal opinion. It's like the patios are good till Thanksgiving weekend, and then it's time to move on. And you are right about the boulder covers. Like I probably hear more as much as you guys. And when the covers are off, it's just like not good reviews, and we'll leave it at that. But you guys are doing an awesome job, and just gotta keep rolling, keep the good times rolling, keep the good work going.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon, and thank you, Miss Megan and French, for your delivery. I just have a comment first. I look forward to doing council. I'm glad you're coming to council, I should say, for feedback on the car show and the garbage bins and the patio program. I look forward to working together on that. And I could be ruled out of order if you don't want to answer this question. At the Hope Housing and Health Symposium, you presented some of the challenges downtown BIA is presented with, and you were asked to end with a bold idea. And your bold idea was washrooms open 365 days a year and storage bins for the unhoused so that they have some place to do it. So my question is this in the downtown BIA budget? And if not, have you envisioned, because you're such a good planner, on how we could deliver this program and who?
I have to be careful here because I think that last statement was really on behalf of myself as opposed to my board and members of the BIA. So a larger conversation, sometimes these types of topics do come up over the board in terms of, hey, what is the washroom solution? How does that work? And we have discussion. I think it could be brought to the board again to say, hey, what do we think can be done here? Can the BIA support a solution here? If I'm outvoted, then I'm outvoted in terms of helping to fund a solution, but it's something we can continue talking about. And then in terms of a storage solution, I think I really called out to our other community partners and agencies if someone could step up and really deliver on something like that. There's potential. I did say that we are losing all our recycling bins, I think, right? So could they be repurposed to be locked storage units for some of that vulnerable community if someone could house them somewhere? But that's that only because I've heard of that in another community in past. But.
And I just shook my head because I know our budget and I can imagine the cost of facilities. So that's why I shook my head there, because I know our budget is not, it's pretty tight. So, but yes, it would be nice to be able to do some of those things and those bold ideas. Yeah.
Thank you. And as we debrief, any input you care to give, you know how to reach me.
Yeah.
I look forward to some of your ideas how this could be completed. And thanks for your hard work. Sorry, another question came to mind. Is there a plan to try and expand the BIA territory?
Yes, so we're currently in hiring, right, for a new position. As soon as that person's in place, we've actually put a plan together to hire 2 staff. We've now received feedback over our last 2 years in operations that the job is a little bit too big for one person. So we've tried to look at our budget and really bring in 2 people, allowing for us to reach, because every year expansion has been top priority for us. And every year that employee has not been able to reach that mandate. And that's not a reflection of good things not happening. That's just, there's too much to do and to coordinate and keep things moving that we need 2 people. So we're currently looking to hire that top person. And then with their help, we'll hire that another coordinator to be able to be more on the beautification on the street, where that leader, managing director would be looking for expansion. And then we have earmarked some of our budget for a consultant who has done an expansion project again. And we're hoping to collaborate with the town and ourselves and that consultant to be like, what are the steps? Let's make sure we really launch this and give the support to that new employee to get it done. And it's not an easy process and it's not fast. So it would be a multi-year engagement to work through the steps.
Councillor Ball.
Thank you. You briefly highlighted your collaboration with the town, and I want to bring it to the forefront because I think that the time that we started sitting here to now, that collaboration has expanded. And I like seeing that. I think that we're able to do more together, and that this relationship has been, I don't want to say repaired. I don't think it was broken, but it was nowhere where it needed to be, and it is getting there now. So I'm excited that we can continue to collaborate, think about these big, bold projects, get on the same page. So you're moving in the right direction and our town staff are moving in the right direction. So I just wanted to put a big kudos out to both of you for getting that way. It's a big initiative and it's a big deal since we've been sitting in these seats, and that's a very short time. So I also, I know you hate talking about street closures and how there's a mixed review on that, but I'm definitely hoping that we can collaborate on actually closing them. But I know that the bollard moving is your small step towards that. So hopefully we can again collaborate on that and make that happen at least. And I hope to see more events. I know you had some big ideas last year, but some more events coming this way, carnivals and et cetera. And I know you've had some staff turnover. So hopefully we see some of that kind of come into the forefront as well when you hire a new person, which I'm hoping will be soon. Yeah, I know you are. And the patio program, I think you'll have more buy-in this year. I think that nobody saw the vision until it was there, and the art really made a difference on what the blocks looked like. So I think you will see believers this year.
Councillor Patel.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you for coming in, Miss Marchadon and French again. We have 2 Marchadon in attendance today. So I'm going to ask the question because I get asked this question all the time when, oh, there's a Patel. So are you guys related?
I don't think we are. We might be distantly,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I don't think so.
All right.
Marshall Dawn.
So it's like the Patel, 2 Patels get together, they open a motel. So 2 Marchadon, they get together, they open
Make a-
mindfulness, mega mindful, and Mr. Marchadon always promotes mindfulness. So
Oh, yes. Yeah.
so there's a lot of
That it-
commonality there. Anyway, so yeah, thank you very much for coming in and just just showing us what the BIA does and its great things. And the patio program was very successful. Mr. East saw the light. I'm glad he saw the light because the more patios we have, the better it is for all the businesses. Expanding the sidewalk, the bollards, less cars on the on the main street, it's always good for business, more foot traffic. So again, moving in the right direction. Just wanted to ask a quick question. What is the BIA levy? And is there a thought about increasing it? And the second question is, I know there's discussions to increase the BIA zones. What is the thought about maybe doing a phase-in BIA levy to, just to make them understand the value, but instead of, they take a sticker shock. But if it's a phase-in, then the sticker shock is not so bad, and then they slowly realize the value, just like how we realize the value in Route 93. So that's my question. Thank you.
So I didn't come prepared with the actual percentage that the levy is. If someone in the room does know what it is, you could bring it forward. That would be phenomenal. But it's not increasing this year. When Kat, if you remember, Kat was here, she did find that we were well underfunded compared to other BIAs and put forward a proposal to increase to a aligned level, which is what has been done, and we've stayed at that level. I can't make any promises, but in terms of, hey, what does expansion look like and how would that cost be implemented? Those discussions have come up during board meetings, lowering levies while we're doing expansion, showing that, hey, when we get expansion, we could lower the levies everywhere and save everybody. Like things have been discussed, but nothing promised, nor do we know if we can do everything that we've kind of imagined at the moment, right? If we can do that. We've also talked about, hey, there could be a plan that you join the BIA when a property switches over, has been done in other communities. So there's different ways this could be done. Yeah, and we'd have to look at that. That's why I think we want a consultant to really show how it's been done in the past. And then we just need to be careful with that budget, because if we're looking to expand our abilities, and then we'd have a lot more area to serve. So be careful if we're going to try to bring down a levy to be able to actually still serve the expanded area, but to do it in a step process could be beneficial for people.
We've done in the past, we have done where businesses can buy into the BIA and they are, can't remember the word for it. It was a
guest member,
associate member. But because our one of our main pillars is beautification, it's really hard just to do a planter just in front of that business that bought in, or it really needs to be done on the full scale of where we're expanding. So so we have been asked about associate, and we have done it, but it just was really hard to actually to make sure that there is equal to everyone else in the membership area.
I have an idea for that. Won't mind. I usually try and go last, but I didn't want to lose the mojo here. So something that you could pursue with us, we could, because clearly we the street cleaners, for example, we don't want them just to stop at the end of the BIA's area and just the rest of the King Street has got cigarette butts and whatever other stuff they pick up. And it would make sense for you to levy your members to pay for that, because they're not members. What's the incentive? So something the town could do in concert with you to help incentivize joining the BIA. I'm literally just making this up on the fly here, but I did check with Rhonda to make sure it's not illegal. Is we could create a CIP, a community improvement plan, and draw the box around the non-BIA area of King Street and simply say, you are not members of the BIA. There are services that the BIA delivers through their levy that the town partners with that we simply can't have not delivered to this section of our vibrant downtown. Therefore, we will levy you through a community improvement plan to offset our expenses in extending those services to you. And we would simply craft that levy so that it was more than what it would cost for them to join the BIA. And I think, the natural assumption would be, why would they want to pay that? They'll just join the BIA and get all the other cool stuff that comes along with being BIA members anyway, because we're not going to replicate BIA through our CIP. We're just going to recover costs for extending some of these services like the street cleaning. So just throwing it out there in the wild for the first time right now, if this is something that you'd like a thread you'd like to pull, why don't we work on that for 2026? And it's the carrot stick mentality. We don't really want to, if there's the building owners that are currently outside of the BIA are just adamantly against joining the BIA for whatever reason, then we have an alternative. So we can collect the revenue to continue delivering the kind of service. So we have one contiguous, clean, safe Main Street, because they still have the lamp poles and, it doesn't make sense that it just ends. So, maybe that's the option, and that could help incentivize them joining. Because of course, if we just redraw the boundary ourselves, which we can do, they can appeal that and get out of it. However, a CIP is not something that can be appealed, and we can justify every penny collected goes right back into what it was intended for. So it's not an extra tax that just, goes into our pot. That might be an option to look at. So this may be something the board talks about with Mr. Farquharson as your town liaison and finance to see whether that's something that we could use as an incentive to try and get BIA membership, through the entire downtown, as it should be. One way or the other, we get the money to fund the services. And of course, we'd want to drive them to all the ancillary benefits of being part of the BA, because we're not doing facade improvement. We're not doing all the other amazing things you do. So I don't know, just spitballing it, see if that resonates with your board, and you guys can take that and run with it if you'd like.
I think we'll consider anything, but I think the biggest thing is to say thank you for seeing the value, which maybe is a new thing to say after a few years. So the value is seen now, the council sees it, which means business owners are seeing it, community seeing it, which should make expansion. That's what we've been waiting for too, to prove the value to then move to expansion. So that's great. That's great. We like it so much that you're willing to force it.
Well, not force it. It's an incentive.
Incentive.
Right? The services are coming anyway.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't get them for free.
Yeah.
Like we've been adamant, like things have cost. Free just means everyone else is paying for it.
Which
So
is why we removed the associate member at
yeah, that's fair. That's great. Councilor Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon, and thank you for the presentation. Most of the talking points, my talking points were hit on already. But I do want to, really say, the board's been working hard. And our board is shrinking. We're actually getting hopefully a new board member, but we can always use board members for the support. So this year has been a little bit challenging without having a management position pretty much for 3/4 of the year, but we've done the best we could do it as a volunteer positions of the board, which was I'm glad everybody stepped up. But I think in 2027 coming along, when we get those 2 positions now put in place, we will be stronger and we see more successes in the downtown. I did want to hit on what Catherine McDonald was saying about the washrooms. That would be a major expense that the BIA could never afford, and we know that. At least I know that. Unless we're getting those washrooms we see at AMO on a trailer. But again, this is the majority of the issues with washrooms is associated with one area, and that's a county problem, right? So, and there should be washrooms available at 24 hours, seven days a week, and we still see that facility locking its doors. So that is an issue, and that is a county problem, and that should be brought to county by our mayor and deputy mayor on that issue. So it's really a non-issue. It just has to be in compliance, right? And then the storage area could be put in that same building. So the problem is solved with no tax dollar on our community. So that I'll leave with the mayor and deputy mayor, because I'm tired of talking to the county about it, because they're saying it's happening and it's not. As far as the bollard covers, we are going to do the BIA is going to do a pilot project for the winter to see how they stand up in the cold. So maybe put a few of the triangle bollards on triangle core plaster, that material on a few bollards to see how they stand up. And then the thinking was to have 2 sets of bollard covers, maybe one for like winter, spring, and then the one for summer and fall. So so we could have them up 12 months of the year without the cars banging on them. So that is a temporary solution, and hopefully we can still continue to get grant funding for that, and also with some help from the town for the second set of bollards. So I think that's basically it. I just want to commend you guys on the work, and you know, and with the speaker system in place, I think and that well managed, we can iron out the details on that. But again, that goes back to someone being in the office, right? You know, full time or 5 days a week, and managing that. So because every time now we get a request to turn it down, or you know, Megan's running from her place of work across the street, right? So it's not very productive, and she's taking time away from her work. But again, that goes to show you about the volunteers and the commitment to the downtown core. So thank you very much, and keep up the great work.
I will say, just noting that our no employee for quarter, 3/4 of the, or a third of the year, a big thank you to town staff for their patience with us through these transitional periods, for patience with me, communications. It helped that the MOU was in place, but we have definitely been working closely, and I appreciate that. I know some last minute requests have had to be made, and that's just a reflection of the current position we're in, but there's still intention to get in a really organized working relationship with town.
Deputy Mayor.
I do think everything that you do is valuable, and I do really wish that it was the entire King Street. And I'm probably going to get in trouble, but I could never, ever be part of forcing people into a situation because this one's better than this one, so we'll save money if we go with the BIA now. I think that's just dirty politics. I'm sorry, but I have to say it. But I do support everything you do, and I really do hope the rest of King Street comes up and sees the value for themselves and join.
All right, I've got a motion here moved by Councillor Bald, seconded by Deputy Mayor Prost, that the presentation provided by Nicole French, Board Chair of the BIA, be received for information, and that the BIA 2026 budget requesting the amount of $175,000 be deferred for the consideration of the 2026 budget deliberations scheduled for December 9th, 10th, and 11th, 2025. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Up next, we have the Severed Sound Environmental Association, Julie Cayley.
Your Worship, Deputy Mayor, Council, staff, and guests, thank you for your time this afternoon. I know you have a full slate, so I'm going to try to run through the stuff I know you already know so we can get to the good part, which are your questions. I want to thank Councillor Meritus, your representative on our board, as well as your alternate representative, Councillor Bald. Next slide, please. The foundation of SSEA started in the 1980s when this area was one of the most polluted areas on the Great Lakes. We're now delisted, and the SSEA, or the Environmental Association, has been your joint municipal service board since 2009. A really great example of 8 municipalities collaborating to protect this incredibly sensitive watershed and ultimately the health of the community and our local economy. Next slide, please. I'm going to run through some of the highlights from 2025, most of which you know, but I'm going to highlight really some of the changes that we've made. We continue to do all of the water quality monitoring, whether it's on our streams, groundwater. We have a lot of historic stream temperature and climate work. Next slide, please. As well as the weather station. So we do have a weather station we work with you on that's a partnered station at the sewage treatment plant, as well as another station in Tiny, and we can use all of that data. That we have open water sites out in Midland Bay that we monitor as well. I'll speak to in a bit, but one of the biggest changes was the shift to our inland lake monitoring program. to going annual instead of on a 5-year rotation. Your program was already done on an annual basis, so the biggest shift for you are the signage and the more us working harder to get information out and working with your staff to find better ways for the public to know whether it's monitoring results, any information or algae blooms, that sort of thing, anything that folks should know, getting timely data sharing out and more reporting. And so we've been working very hard at doing that. That program hopefully is a better impact for the community as well as making things predictable, more predictable as well. And I know it's certainly a central point to your community, Little Lake. The water quality reports now are, we try to get them out within 48 hours of the monitoring, the field work that we're doing, and those are on our website for folks to see. And like I mentioned, those QR code slides, I will mention at the end, we are looking to try to expand that program this coming year to just try and make information more accessible. And I know you've had a presentation specific to Little Lake from our water scientist, Dr. Volek. Next slide, please. So in terms of results, again, I know she spoke to you about Little Lake results, but Midland Bay, I don't think she brought to you. We're seeing similar challenges in the open waters. So Midland Bay, we sample basically from here up to Honey Harbor and have been, that program has been going on actually since the 1970s. And we are seeing some shifts in water quality that we certainly want to continue to keep an eye on. They're not just subject here, so salt, so chlorides, salts are increasing everywhere in all of our watersheds, other watersheds as well. We do see some algae blooms as well, and just something obviously that needs to be kept an eye on. So this is the new style of reporting that we're doing, and we're hoping is more user-friendly than some of the graphs and data we were doing in the past. Next slide, please. We've also had the opportunity, our staff work very, very hard at finding external funding. We've had the opportunity through special funding to do a lot of external grant work supporting what we refer to as stewardship. So work on the ground, whether that be with residents, individual residents, things like tree plant. You can see here 660 seedlings were planted by residents in Midland last year. We also do native species and pollinator plantings, whether that's in parks or schools. We've launched some programs upstream of the town, so it's really important that the water that comes to Midland is clean, and so that's, again, a great importance of the partnership. And those programs include things like working with agriculture, as well as the invasive species program that we run with you. We run with our other municipalities as well, and really proud that the staff in that program have managed to secure more funding. Specifically, I think the town of Midland was one of the municipalities that stepped up right away. So we've been able to secure funding as we are the frag management area lead for the Phragmites management area lead for the Invasive Species Center. So we'll continue to do what we can to pull funding this direction. Next slide, please. We do continue to do land use review for you as well. SSEA fills 2 roles as your source protection authority. So this is the only regulated work that we do. It falls under the Ontario Clean Water Act, and it is relative to protecting municipal sources of municipal drinking water, part of the 2-tiered approach, or multi-tiered approach, I should say. 2 levels of that. One is at the municipal scale, or sorry, the provincial scale, where we're looking at policy changes that may impact municipalities. That work is still paid for by the province. And then the risk management services that we provide to you, you can see some of the numbers of the work that was accomplished this year. That is what you find in the budget. Next slide, please. The Sustainable Severn Sound program has certainly made some milestones this year as well, finding some external funding and helping work with your municipality, trying to get you towards milestone 4, which is the implementation of your climate action plan. I know John's been working hard with your staff on that as well, but really excited about the Intact Foundation grant. That was a coup for us. We were pretty excited for that. It's a 2-year grant to look at basically being flood ready. So flood risk areas within all of our municipalities. And we've had our first working group meeting, but that's working with staff, emergency preparedness, frontline folks who are going to know where that sort of thing is happening. This is not floodplain mapping. This is a precursor to that, which is trying to figure out where the highest risk areas are. Next slide, please. So moving into 26, all of that programming we hope to be continuing. The monitoring work, obviously, we will continue. That's a keystone to our work. and applying for external funding. And our staff work very hard to find external funding, and I mentioned that as we move into the next slide. And as I mentioned, it was great. I got here a little bit early, so I was able to meet with one of your newer staff. So hoping to start the connection around doing more work to get the word out and make sure that residents are as engaged as they can be or as they want to be. Next slide, please. So programming will continue as we move into 26, actively seeking external funding. So this year in 2025, staff have raised to this point $428,000 external dollars. So that's money that your contribution helps us leverage. And that can be anywhere from something like Intact or the provincial federal governments as well. And in 2026, they've already raised about for 2026, about 125,000. So this is good news for us. It really helps us amplify our programming for you. As you are very likely aware, we have had some revenue challenges moving forward in our 26 budget. So we're moving to 7 members from 8. And the board worked with us to manage that increase. So we've done that for the remaining partners by a combination of using our reserves, reducing our services, including reduced payroll complement. So we removed 2 positions, 2 of our internship positions, delaying our pay grid review. And so we've managed to keep that budget increase even with a reduction in membership to 3%. And we are also in the process of third-party review of the funding formula and the agreement. So that will be reviewed by our board with the consultant on December 3rd in our next upcoming board meeting. And so you obviously can see in the package ahead in front of you what the Midland apportionment is for this year. And I'm happy to answer questions. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Ball.
Thank you. I did see that Tiny is, I guess, more on the ball than we are, and requested you investigate how the province's plan to consolidate, I guess, conservation agencies is going. So I just wanted to know if we have to get on board with that, or if that's something you already are investigating and that you're going to let us know about. I haven't bugged Councillor Meredith about this, if this is already happening. So I'm just wondering, I guess, if you are, if that's going back to us, or if we have to do something like Tiny has to initiate that from you.
Thank you, through your worship. It's very timely. We just actually finished a deep dive into the regulatory changes to the conservation authorities and the boundary changes. The original information that came out, if any of you have seen the maps, this area is still not anywhere on those maps. When we did a deep dive, we discovered that 3 of our municipalities are in fact listed in the new conservation authority. So we have done a preliminary reach out to those CAOs. Penetanguishene and Midland were not. But we are making sure that that was an error and not somebody, unless your municipalities had approached them to say, we'd like to be part of the new conservation authority, which I have not heard any municipalities say yet. It was also timely that Tiny asked that. So we've certainly already started that process, and I see no reason why we wouldn't share that with all our members when we finish our review.
Thank you. That's what I was hoping for, but I just wanted to make sure if we have to write a letter to you to initiate that. So appreciate that.
Thank you.
Councillor Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. Thank you, Julie, for the presentation and touching on Councillor Ball's point. Yeah, and I just recently I know we were talking about our last meeting. I had a talk with Deputy Mayor Norris about the conservation authority going from 36, I think, down to 7, and that's the first time I kind of heard about that. And then I did see that Tiny was talking about it. Councillor Walma brought it up. So looking forward to getting more information on that, of course, and how it affects us. I know right now it doesn't, because we're out of the Conservation Authority, and I'm hoping that we continue on with the SSEA. In saying that, we are down 1 partner for sure, and so that means costs are going to be going up. So paying close attention to that in the 2027 budget. But for 2026, did, you know, the board did do some great work on keeping those costs down. So, so, you know, and I had conversations with you prior to getting on the board about the, you know, questioning the SSEA, and I've definitely learned the importance of it. But at some point, if prices, you know, if things are escalating, that there's going to be some tough decisions on the board to be made on what programs or services to that we can live without. So hoping that's not the case. But thank you very much for the presentation and all the work that you do. I also want to highlight our the SSE, and I'm not sure what the actual, I forget the total amount, but our grants, the work that we do, or the SSCA does for getting hundreds of thousands of grants for these programs is quite incredible. It's a big number, and that should be commended. Thank you.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon, and thank you for your presentation and your dedication to our environment. With your tree planting initiative at no cost, I think it's that slide reflected there was no cost. We're in the process of establishing a tree protection bylaw. So can our staff access your wisdom on that tree protection bylaw?
Thank you, through your worship. Absolutely. There's nothing to stop staff from calling us at any point. We're not a consultant. We don't start billing when the phone rings. So we're happy to answer questions or even help if staff ever want. You know, we've done in the past, we've looked when staff are looking into different bylaws, we can look at other jurisdictions. If our staff have more time than yours do to do things like that, happy to do that. The current tree seedling program that your residents take advantage of is a cost-based program. So residents pay for their trees, for the seedlings that they purchase, and the municipality just provides in-kind support, gives us places to sort the trees and have people come pick them up. And so that's that program.
Thank you. We should advertise it more.
Absolutely.
Councillor Patel.
Thank you, Julie, for coming in and giving this presentation. We had a brief look there, I think, a month ago, the presentation, and one thing that stands out, and you guys are mentioning as well, the salts in the water. And my question is, what is the solution, or how can we reduce the salt? Has there been any discussion by SSCA in that part? And secondly, I know the budget was going to be good this year because Councillor Meredith was not talking about the SSCA budget this year as much. So I know it was in good shape, but next year it's looking like it's going to be in bad shape. So he'll be back on talking about it because we're losing a member. But hopefully we can add members further, expand the horizon. So he won't have to talk about it. And I won't have to listen about it. So thank you.
Thank you. Through your worship, on the SALT programming, neighboring organizations like conservation authorities and the Muskoka District have programs that they've been starting to implement, and it has to be done with municipalities, obviously. There's lots of liability and insurance discussions to be had if you're going to talk about reducing salt, particularly on roadways or sidewalks, et cetera. But yeah, we're certainly happy to start looking into some of that. And my guess is our water scientist is going to be pushing me to that this winter anyway. So we would certainly be reaching out for any programming we'd want to pursue in that direction.
Thanks. Yeah, the Lake Simcoe Regional Conservation Authority is pretty big on that because they've been raising the alarm on increasing salinity in Lake Simcoe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thank you though for sharing on that slide 5. You know, that, what is it, the average oxygen level seasonal trend graphic, because we only saw the one presented to us for Little Lake,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of alarming. I mean, it doesn't make it great, but the fact that Georgian Bay right? Like Lake Huron effectively has the same problem as our little lake. It makes me feel a little better that our little lake isn't it's just about to die. Because of course the simple answer, when we asked, well, how do we deal with this? And she said, this isn't realistic, but stop development, which makes no sense, like from a housing perspective, because we are having to meet all the thresholds for setbacks in environmental areas and controlling outflow and whatnot from what happens on the streets, collecting rainfall and whatnot. But so that now I see that, side by side, Severn Sound is experiencing that same sort of seasonality. It helps me feel a little bit better about some of the decisions we're going to be making about development in our community, knowing that this isn't isolated to Little Lake, that this is a trend that's born by our bay and Lake Huron. So, anyway, that's a little bit of good news. Although clearly we want oxygen levels to be back in the green across all of our watershed. But I also wanted to call out some of the little things you guys do that are the intangibles. We have, I believe this has been done already, but there's wildflowers that you planted along Bayshore on the hilly section that we haven't been mowing as part of our, no mow, pollinator friendly, basically don't cut the grass, to save money. That's what, because grass doesn't pollinate, bugs don't pollinate grass. But anyway, it's been tall and bushy and we just haven't been cutting it. And a lot of people being like, man, it looks so unkept and messy. It's such a high traveled road along Bay Shores. You're heading, towards Midland Bay Landing. Well, apparently, if I recall, Mitch was telling me that you guys came and planted wildflowers in the fall that should start to pop up in the spring. And what a beautiful use now. I mean, if we're not going to cut that grass and keep it manicured, which I can see the value of, wildflowers are far more attractive than just hay, basically, which is it's gone to, the seed. So that's little things like this. I'd been talking to staff about this and I'm like, oh, I think SSEA is doing that, and boom, next thing you know, I get an email saying it's done. And the community doesn't even know about it. So there's all kinds of little initiatives like this that, being partners in the SSEA bring value. So I'm looking forward to that. And maybe we can replicate that in some other areas that, were difficult for us to mow and make more sense to be wildflowers and truly do contribute to the pollinator ecosystem. So awesome. And it was great to see a low increase number, this like a single digit, like a low single digit after the heart attack or the jump scare, we had last year with the budget. So at any rate, with Councillor Meredith on the board, I know that he's keeping his eagle eye tuned to the expenses and to the service delivery. I do look forward to the discussions around the funding model, especially as we contract. It is unfortunate we're losing a member in Georgian Bay Township, but I can understand that there are members, I think, of 2 other conservation authorities. 2 or at least 1 more.
Not Georgian Bay. They don't have a conservation authority.
Yeah. So, or maybe
that's Oromadati and Springwater.
Oh, yes, that's right. We have members that are, they're already given at the office in multiple ways, and they still see the value of being part of SSEA. It's just one of our members, doesn't. But fiscal constraints and pressures are abound. So we're going to have to figure out how we soak up those lost partnership revenues. To Councillor Meredith's point, look at what programs are falling more into the nice to have basket versus the need to have, focus on the core deliverables, obviously source water protection, things that we must have. So it's in good hands with the Councillor Meredith. And quite frankly, if you've made a believer out of him, which you have in his short tenure, then we know you guys are doing something right at SSEA. So thank you very much. And I appreciate this relatively low increase for the service you provide.
Thank you.
All right, moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor East, that the presentation provided by Julie Cayley, Executive Director of Severn Sound Environmental Association, be received for information, and that the Severn Sound Environmental Association 2026 budget request in the amount of $191,727, including HST, be deferred for consideration during the 2026 budget deliberation scheduled for December 9th, 10th, and 11th, 2025. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. All right, up next at the mic is the Huronia Museum. Nahani, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Worship, for having me here today. It's good to see you and members of council. We're back 87 years this year. which I think is pretty impressive for us. So 3 years we'll be celebrating 90 years in the town of Midland, but we are North Simcoe's Community Museum, and I'm here to tell you about a little bit about our past year and what we're looking forward to in the new year. So if we can slip to the next slide, that'd be great. So again, we had operational costs just shy of 600,000, and with the 84,000 received from the town of Midland, we leverage about $5 for every dollar received from the municipality to operate. We operate with 5 staff throughout the year. That's 5 full-time staff operating the main facility as well as the outdoor village. Occasionally throughout the year, we will get short-term contracts from different projects. And then, of course, in the summer, we employ anywhere from 6 to 8 summer students, giving post-secondary students and high school students an opportunity for meaningful employment in the summer, to put a museum on their resume and do something interesting for the summer as well. Another place that we get a lot of grants for the students. They cover 50 to 75% of the cost for that. But other than that, we generate our revenue through programming, donations, operations, and fundraising. And that is how we manage to make up our entire budget and keep our lights on all throughout the year. If we could switch to the next slide, please. So we've had a number of community events in 2025, engaging new audiences in the community. The first images you see here, we received a grant from Huronia Community Foundation. It's called the 7x7s program. As you know, we have a fantastic collection of Group of 7 paintings at Huronia Museum. Just as a little side note, we just had one come in and we're doing a Category A application for it, which means it'll be considered Canadian cultural property. And will sit in our collection of national significance, and just came in valued at $275,000. So if you'd like to come and see it, you know where we are in Little Lake Park. I'm happy to take you and show you because it is beautiful. But the 7x7s program hit the grade 7 curriculum for forms in art. So Huronia Community Foundation was gracious and funded a program for us to go into all the schools in North Simcoe, Midland, Penetanguishene, Tiny, and Tay. We hit those grade 7 classrooms, and students got to recreate Group of 7 paintings, understanding the story not only of the Group of 7, the significance here on Georgian Bay. This was their access point to Georgian Bay, and express themselves recreating Group of 7 paintings, because that one at the bottom there is done by a young woman who's 12 years old, and it's kind of impressive. We had over 300 students participate. We invited every student to participate in an art show where we hung their recreations with Group of 7 paintings in our major gallery, and we had over 200 submissions. So it was pretty amazing to see 200 submissions to an art show. We didn't expect such a massive response with parents coming out. It was a great experience for the kids to not only learn about the Group of 7, discover their local community museum, but also have their works hang next to Group of 7 paintings in a museum. That's a pretty cool thing to get to say when you're 12 years old. So that was one of our programs this year. We also ran, of course, if you could slip to the next slide, that'd be great. Oh, it's out of, could we slip to the next one? Sorry. I'm sorry, I think it got out of order. Sorry about that. We also ran, of course, our annual Easter egg hunt. We sold out. We had well over 400 kids show up, which means we had close to probably a good 1,000 people run through the museum in a matter of 3 hours in the dark. It's a good thing we plan for things like that. Again, we partner with the Lions Club on this. We bring in food for the food bank. Family Day, we still run our Games Day programs and our cupcake sales. We're in partnership with the OSPCA, and we've started doing our Christmas home tour annually as well. If we could just go back a slide, and I'm sorry they are out of order. Our day camp program was almost completely booked out this year. We saw about 200 more children participate this summer than we have in years past. We still run the program where we provide lunches and snacks and other necessities for kids that need it. We do have a program where they can anonymously, not anonymously, but securely let us know that there are needs, and we ensure that they have what they need for their week or day or whatever it is at our camp. I'd really like to thank the United Women, the United Women's Church group, and also the Ladies Auxiliary of the local branch 80 for sponsoring this and donating to this program for us. So if we could skip to the next slide, please. Actually, we'll go two because, of course. There we go. So we can see here, how well attended our rabbit Easter Bunny program is. Sorry, not our rabbit program. They were lined up all the way down the hill again. This is going to be, I think, our 15th year running it in the upcoming year. And it's incredible the amount of food we're able to bring in and give to the food bank through this program. And of course, provide a great Easter experience for lots of kids and families in the community. One of the great things about that program is that people come into the museum who don't normally come into the museum or wouldn't think to stop by the museum. And they really want to see what it looks like with the lights on. So often we will gain new community friends through this program. If we could just slip to the next slide, please. There we go. So we did do a focus on Indigenous programming this year. We instituted an elder in residence at Huronia Museum. Trish Monaig joined us as our elder in residence, providing us with guidance on our programming, particularly of our managing of artifacts, and engaging in the community in meaningful ways in the spirit of truth and reconciliation. One of the things we did institute this year was a language component to our exhibits, not just adding the Anishinaabe word or Anishinaabemowin to the exhibit, but also creating a treasure hunt. You might recognize the guy on the upper left. He came and tried it out. The treasure hunt allows you to engage in language, and at the end, you can also engage in practicing that, using it. It gives you a takeaway to take home. It's more than just saying the words. It's engaging and sharing beyond, instituting one of the key elements of heritage interpretation and teaching through a museum, and that's instigating a behavioral change once you leave that museum. Beyond that, we started working on a primary program for language, which we'll be rolling out in the next year, and then hopefully also as packages to integrate into classrooms. On the right, we host the annual Addle workshop. We did a lot of programming this year as part of Indigenous Arts and Culture Awareness Week, Addle workshop. We did a food sovereignty workshop. Oh, we hosted the sunrise ceremony. We try to take a lead and play an important part in that. We do tell a strong Indigenous story through the museum, and we try to do that well. Hence the institution of an elder in residence at Huronia Museum. We could slip to the next slide. That'd be great, please. I brought it because I know it's loved here. The Paint with Your Dog workshop happened again. Yeah, so we're going to continue to do that. We're continuing to partner with the OSPCA in a few different projects. We actually have a new one coming out in the upcoming year. This gentleman on the right had never been in the museum before. Brought his dog. His paint wasn't great, and he'll admit that. The dog wasn't into it. But we did receive an email from him afterwards. I see what you're trying to do. I felt welcome, and it was a warm afternoon. Thank you for having me. And this is what we try to do at Huronia Museum. If we do it one person at a time, Huronia Museum will do it. We will make friends out of people. It's what we try to do at the museum. And that's how we get our strong community support, is through those kinds of engagements. You can slip to the next slide. That'd be great. So in the upcoming year, we're looking at instituting some, once again, we're having to constantly refocus our programming away from what we have traditionally done. We're looking at some, as I mentioned, the new Indigenous programming, sending packages into school, because We have been finding that our bookings, even doing outreach to schools, once we eliminate the busing cost, there's just a lot of barriers for teachers in schools. So bringing our educational mandate to children is becoming more and more difficult. So we're trying to find different ways to do that. And partnering and bringing our educational mandate also, and bringing, you know, our programming and our artifacts in other ways to other community groups, like one of our neighbors, Askononia, with whom we partner and did the food sovereignty workshop. Or sometimes I'll just go over and spend lunch and tell them things about the museum and what goes on there. So it's important to do those kinds of things. This year we are requesting again 84,000. But we are also in the process of our strategic plan, which will be coming out in June 2026, a requirement by the Ministry of Culture. The museum holds about half of the collection. 87 years of collecting would be specifically Midland related. About another quarter of the collection would be Tay Township, Tiny Township, not Penetanguishene, they hold their own. And that final quarter of the collection is just a collective of artifacts and archival material that relates to all of North Simcoe together. So as a part of our strategic plan, we will be moving into other municipalities looking for financial support that we do not receive, as we currently only receive it from the town of Midland. So we are requesting 84,000 again this year, and crossing our fingers that we keep doing the things we can do and do in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Naheem. Deputy Mayor?
I just want to thank you again this year. You guys do an amazing job on a shoestring, and it's more and more every year. I'm so impressed. Thank you. You bring a lot to our community.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Prost.
Councillor Patel?
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Nihani, for coming in and giving this presentation. And I was looking forward to that slide with the Power 7, I call it. And next year, hopefully, my wife lets me come with her and I can be part of that Power 7, Power
Okay.
8. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Councillor Meredith?
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. Thank you, Ms. Bourne, for the presentation. I'm continually amazed on you continue to ask for the same amount. You have five, I think it was 5 employees, and you managed to do all the programming that you do. It's simply amazing to see, and keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Ball?
Thank you. I think Councillor Patel's going to actually be the one in the doghouse after that comment. You're like a magician. Every time you come here, you have more programming. You never ask us for a single dollar more, and you still keep trekking at it. I've spoke to your programming and how important it is for you engaging with youth, and I appreciate that you're trying to go into the schools now. I know that it has become a red tape nightmare to try and get to you for schools. So I'm sure that teachers really appreciate that effort on your part, as well as the students who are actually gaining all of your wisdom from you. I still think that it's amazing that you offer low-cost day camps. I think that's really important for our community. And I actually didn't catch that before, that you do offer lunches as well. So that's a new tidbit that I missed last time. So I really appreciate that as well. And that none of your staff quit after having my kids there all summer. So I appreciate that even more. So thank you. And it was nice to see you.
Thank you.
Councillor Major?
That was a great presentation. I just kind of had my fingers crossed. So you're going to ask for some more money this year and step up, and because you do so much with so little, and you're the one of all the things that are coming to budget. I'm like, she's got to ask for more this year so we can do something. Or my thoughts, we could do something for you. I can't speak for everybody on council, but an outstanding job. And I don't know how you do it, but if anyone needs a bit of a finance Les, and I think they should get a hold of you and you can help them in their finances.
Thank you very much, Councillor Major. I think what we really excel at, like, while we didn't ask for an increase, we get a lot of favors from the town of Midland. We live in your park. And your parks people are very good to us. And, you know, I mean, we've been there 80, well, not on that spot. We're around 87 years. We've been there since 1967. So, you know, we're really good at partnering. We're really good at finding friends, and looking for ways to make things happen using our combined resources rather than just looking for a dollar amount to cover the cost of it. So I think that makes a big difference in how we operate, because we're very open to partnership. We're very open to working with just absolutely, you know, anybody who's going to help us bring our mandate forward as well as their own. Thank you.
And that's another thing with the town staff and management, not that we really are fortunate to have the staff that cares, the guys that are out in the street, or the workers that are out in the street. I can't say guys to be politically incorrect, but the gang that's out and around town, they see stuff and get things done, and management at the town is engaged. And so I didn't realize all that was going on, but I still have my fingers crossed you're going to come in and ask for something this year. Anyways, great job.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. Moved by Councillor Meredith, seconded by Councillor Patel, that the presentation provided by Nihini Bourne, Executive Director of Huron Museum, be received for information, and that Huron Museum 2026 budget request in the amount of $84,000 be deferred for consideration during the 2026 budget deliberations scheduled for December 9th, 10th, and 11th, 2025. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
Thank you very much.
Chimabetch. All righty, Ascanonia Senior Center. They got a cheering squad at the back there.
I think this is on. Mayor Gordon, Deputy Mayor, Member of Council, and town staff. Good afternoon, or getting into good evening, I guess. My name is Mike McCrae, and I'm the Chairman of the Board of Directors for Ascanonia Senior Center. With me today are members of the board, our Lease Advisory Committee, and our GM. Ascanonia, a little bit of history first. Ascanonia has been proudly serving the community since 1989, when the town of Midland passed bylaw 89-50 to support our designation as a registered elderly person center under the Ministry of Health. This partnership has been essential in allowing Ascanonia to qualify for $55,000 in core operating funding from the province, funding that cannot be accessed without the town's continued support. Under this provincial model, the town of Midland is required to provide a minimum contribution of $28,000 in cash, in kind, or a combination of both for Ascanonia to remain eligible for this annual provincial grant. Today, Ascanonia, which has only 3 full-time employees, has grown to over 1,700 members, with an estimated 71% of them residing in Midland. We offer more than 67 programs weekly to help older adults stay active, connected, and engaged physically, socially, and mentally. Our members volunteer thousands of hours annually to make these programs possible, and the ripple effects on community health and well-being are profound. We are here tonight to request that the town of Midland formally include the value of Ascanonia's current facility space as part of the town's in-kind support. Specifically, we are asking that the annual cost of $22,000 representing the seniors room, the multi-purpose room, and the Margaret Scott room at the North Simcoe Rest Center be recognized as in-kind contribution. These spaces are used by Ascanonia Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. and are essential to our daily operations and service to the community. In addition to this lease space, Ascanonia also rents the gymnasium, community hall, and Bill Thompson Hall throughout the year for an additional cost of approximately $40,000 annually. We respectfully ask that the town consider the leased portion, approximately $22,000 per year, as the in-kind contribution required under the provincial funding model. This contribution would align the town's support with the reality or impact and ensure that Ascanonia can continue to qualify for provincial funding, sustain affordable programming, and maintain long-term stability. Ascanonia's growth over the past several years has been incredible. We are expanding at a remarkable pace, and with that growth, we anticipate needing to rent additional space within the rec center to accommodate new new programs and members. The in-kind support we are requesting today would be largely offset by the increased rentals, resulting in little or no net financial loss to the town. At the same time, costs across the board are rising, from staffing and supplies to facility expenses. It is becoming increasingly challenging to keep membership and program fees affordable. This in-kind support would allow us to keep costs low and programming accessible for Midland seniors while ensuring sustainability for Ascanonia for years to come. The town's ongoing partnership with Ascanonia has always been a model of collaboration and shared community vision. Together, we make Midland a community where older adults are supported to stay active, engaged, and thriving, a true point of pride for our town. Thank you for your time, consideration, and continued support. I'll turn it over to our GM now for a second.
Hello. Oh my goodness. These don't get easier for me, just so everybody knows. Council and town staff, my name is Blair Randolph, and I am the new executive director of Ascanonia at the beginning of this year. Really big shoes to fill. I wanted to express, though, our deep and sincere thanks to the town of Midland for the ongoing support that we do get with the rec center. We recently had someone from the Ontario government visit the rec center and take a witness to what we're offering there, and they said that Ascanonia was one of their highest functioning senior centers that they deal with, and this is where we get the annual $55,000 a year from. So that was a really cool thing to like hang our hats on, and it's rooted here in Midland, which is another really cool thing as well. I don't feel so bad about our ask after hearing all the other asks, to be honest with you. I'm like, questions? Any questions? Like really nervous, I'm sorry.
No, you're doing fine, Blair. So just for council's purposes, to understand what this ask is, there'll be a staff report that comes to us and a briefing when we're doing our budget deliberation, and we'll make it really clear where the numbers are moving from one column to another, what, if any, that net difference would need to be. But this will be well explained by staff at the time. So this is more just formally putting it on, planting the seed, and then we're going to learn more about it from Dana and her team, what the mechanics of this look like and what the real net number is likely to be. And of course, the offset effect of increased rentals. So, and of course, we need a bigger rec center on top of all this because we'll run out of space for all the need.
Yes.
So just with that in mind, council, if you're wondering, like, what does this actually mean for the budget request? Stay tuned. We'll get that as when we have our budget deliberation. But other than that, questions, comments? Councilor Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. So we're going to get this information during budget? Is that correct? Or prior to budget? So we can absorb what the ask is. I'm a little confused. I'm just thinking right now, you just want to take 22,000 and move it to in-kind versus.
We actually get $28,000 from Midland. We get $6,000 cash, and we get $22,000 in kind. We just want that in kind to take care of our lease costs.
Right, and not keep the 22,000. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is okay. So one further, diving a little deeper here. So with the Ascanonian, the rates that we charge for Ascanonian, if you were just a normal citizen coming in to rent, are the rates lower for Ascanonian than it would be for a normal?
Seniors rate.
Not-for-profit rate.
Not for profit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and also too, we, like this year, I've kind of added what we'll pay the town is 60,000 in rent for the whole year. And then, so we're kind of wanting that we pay 22,000, but that's also deducted what, if someone wasn't a not-for-profit, they'd be paying more than that 22,000.
Okay. I'm just trying to get all this down, but I'm sure the report will
Yeah.
spell it all out.
Yes.
So I guess the question to be even simpler, is there any in-kind right now that we do for Ascanonian, and what that dollar amount would be? Would it already be 22,000 or 28,000 or so forth?
Through the chair to Councilor Emeritus. Yes, we do provide a below market rate for the current leased amount. So the request here, which we'll quantify for you, is to no longer pay the below market rate, but to receive the full value of the leased space as an in-kind support. So that's why you'll get a report, because there will be a small budget impact on our side, which we'll quantify for you. In terms of the other rentals throughout the facility, because the Ascanonia programs are quite active throughout the facility, Blair is correct. They pay the seniors rate as approved by council in terms of any of the rooms that have a seniors rate on them.
Thank you.
Madam CEO?
Thank you, through your worship, to council. Rather than a report actually coming to council, we'll put it as part of a presentation, just because that's the way we normally flow through the day, but we will have the information in a presentation when we come through budget. We generally don't do reports for that day of budget, but we will have all the information. It just won't be in the form of a report.
So that means we won't see it ahead of budget day. We're going to see it live on the screen and we walk through it as we're deliberating on it, or are we gonna, is it something we're gonna be able to digest earlier than that? Just to Councilor Emeritus's point earlier.
Through your worship, there are a couple of options. We have published the budget, or sorry, the council agenda for next week on December 3rd. That would be the opportunity that we could get something together. So if council is amendable, we could be adding it and having it on the agenda by Friday of this week, if that's okay. Other than that, we would, there are some other options that Ms. Clark can actually walk through.
Thanks, Rhonda. Through you. We also have the option for putting it in as a budget question. So during our question and answer period, which hasn't ended yet. So that would be another opportunity for us to get the information to you in advance in a way that's approved in our procedural bylaw.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to go. Because it basically, you know, instead of paying us rent, we're just going to call it in kind. We're going to treat them just basically how we do the Boys and Girls Club. Right. So yeah, there'll be you can make that really plain and simple to digest when we see the Q&A. Okay, over here, Councillor Major.
So, I think we want to keep the Ascanonian in-house. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you rented some places outside last year. So basically, for us, it's better to work with you guys and get everything under one roof and not going to other facilities. Okay, I kind of was wondering if I was on the right track or not, but I thought I was. So the biggest thing for us is somehow as a council figure out to keep it affordable and under one roof.
And members do tell us that they, move to somewhere on King Street just to be close to the Ascanonia. So we did look at other spaces to rent, but it makes more sense. I mean, we have 3 full-time staff and the 1,700 members, so we want to build on the rec center though, but other than that, yeah.
The only thing I might say to that is an occasion, like with our ukulele band, which is,
At the villa.
I don't know how many people, it's like 40, I think sometimes. Everybody likes ukulele. They're up in the villa now supplying music to the seniors and residents of the villa, the new villa up there. So those sorts of things would probably continue. They're one of our biggest sponsors. So
And it's like a win-win. That empties a spot for us to have another program running. It's just because we needed that space. It was in the multi-purpose room, the room with the mirrors. So they're doing, the villa doesn't charge us for them to be there. They're delivering that service. They're also giving us extra space to have other programming.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like,
Yeah, our day-to-day programming, really, we want in-house.
yeah, like there's a couple of times I know for sure, I'm pretty sure that you had to go somewhere else. So we just got to get the staff, council and you guys and make it happen.
Just building on that, we had a meeting today and just talking about the new parks master plan upgrade process and all kinds of capital expenses, many of which are completely unfunded and just aspirational right now, are going to go into that plan. And then it's up to future council to decide when they want to prioritize and how they're going to find the funding. But one of those things that we're talking about that isn't really a dream is expanding on the Sports and Rec Center, which will have a new name. Check your email Friday for the press release. But you know, that there is land there for us to expand and build onto. It's just, you know, tens, if not $100 million to do that. So we're gonna need partnerships potentially with the Y, maybe some capital injection through funding that the Ascanonia can acquire federally or provincially. Money we would then go after as well too. And then of course tax supported money for that build, and maybe even bring the municipal neighbors back in to help, you know, version 2.0 of the build. But there's clearly a need for more space, and as the community grows and we have more tax, you know, payers, that'll help as well. But these are all things, to your point, Councillor Major, that if we could do them tomorrow, they could use the space tomorrow. But realistically, we're, you know, probably looking at a decade out, but we need to start planning for that now. So that's all going to be part of the Parks and Recreation Master Planning process. And we're going to work clearly collaboratively with Ascanonia, who we value so much. So it's a valid point. So where I'm going, you're bang on. Just can't fix it tomorrow. Councillor Patel, and then we're going that way.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. So thank you, Blair, for coming in and giving us some insight on the Ascanonia, and I can't believe it. 1,400 members, you said?
1,700.
17?
And growing.
Yeah, there's never been a better time to be a senior in Midland with all the programming I see.
Yes.
I mean, you know what, I'm gonna apply. So gonna get a fake ID. So yeah, it's great what all the programming you guys are doing and coming in with the asks you have, that there's definitely a need to expand the services that we're offering to the Ascanonians. So my only question is, has Ascanonia approached the neighboring communities for any support besides Midland in terms of financial or any different type in kind? Because I understand Midland has a facility, but maybe there is an opportunity for some financial support, because I'm assuming, or I'm guessing, that we do have members that are from the neighboring communities. Thank you.
We have gotten money from the Tiny Township Mayor's Golf Tournament. We haven't directly asked. Penetang just got a SELC, which is that 55,000 from the Ontario government. So now they have technically a elderly person center. So no, then I would say, but definitely something to think about. Thanks.
Might I just add to that? I think when I was giving mine, there was, I think 71%
Yes.
were from Midland. That used to be about 50%. As you build more homes than Penetang or any of the other people, I think, that percentage will just keep going up. It used to be 25% out of Penetang. And I presume that's just continuing to drop, and not because of their senior center. I think they've only got one program.
No, they have more than one, but yeah.
They got more than that?
Yeah.
I don't know where they put them, but
Yes.
but that the amount of people coming from Midland is increasing quite quickly.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon, and thank you for your presentation. A thought just crossed my mind with your last comment. Probably the number of seniors in Midland keeps going up too.
Yes.
And you did answer my question was in regards to the 55,000. And you did say in your last statement it was from the Ontario government. So I don't have that my question, but I do have one other comment about keeping the costs low for seniors. That's music to my ears because we in affiliation with the health unit are always looking for ways for poverty reduction, and with seniors that can afford to get some exercise and communication and everything, that's wonderful. So I'm a very impressive run facility, the Ascanonian. Thanks.
Like number one goal is to keep things affordable as possible. And if someone couldn't afford, we would give them a membership. We don't turn anyone away. We don't want it to be a financial burden for anyone to join. And like social isolation after COVID, we learned like it's crazy. So our doors are open. We don't stop anyone if they can't afford.
Deputy Mayor.
I'm really glad to hear your answer to Councillor McDonald's question. That's awesome that nobody's turned away. But my question, I'm just trying to simplify this without everything in front of me. And my numbers could be off, but I just want to kind of know if I have the gist of it. So at this point, we give 22,000 a year in kind.
Yes.
And that would be changed to, it would be an increase of 38,000 a year in kind.
Yes.
Or to make up to 60, right? So that's kind of what the ask is.
I believe like essentially if we weren't a senior center, I think we would pay 40,000, I think, Dana, 40,000 for the multi-purpose room, the office spaces, and the Vi Kennedy room and the Margaret Scott room. We pay 22,000 to the town because we get that already as less market rent.
Okay.
So we're wanting that 22,000 to just be in kind, but essentially it would be 40,000 because we already get the deal.
Right. So it would
Right.
be like an $18,000 increase in kind. That's what's kind of going to come to us.
That's
Okay.
what
I just want to try to simplify it in my mind. What's coming to
Yep.
us. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Meredith.
I was trying to wrap my head around what's going on, but I'll just wait for have that discussion over budget. Thank you.
Oh, trust
All right.
me.
Yeah.
I feel ya.
Yeah, it's complicated because we need to look at market, because we don't want to undervalue what we're giving to Ascanonia, and we certainly don't want to hobble their ability to collect that 55K. So Dana's doing the magic math, and it'll all work out. It'll be honest, but it's going to work for Ascanonia, work for us. But we just need to change the way we're doing this to make sure everything's all square. Councillor Ball.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not even going to try beef until we have it in front of us. So I'm a visual person, but I just wanted to say before you sneak out that you don't have to be nervous. You're doing great and you have big shoes to fill, but I know that she's sitting there behind you, proud of you. So you're doing a great job and keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, and I too are, we love Ascanonia. It's been a pet of mine for many, many years. I used to do some work for you guys on the side when I was working for the police service. So, I mean, asking only the value, you can't just take what we give you, divide it by your number of members and figure out what membership has to be. Because this isn't being run like a business. It can't be. It's like the municipality, basically. We're a service provider. So the fact that you do so much, arguably with so little, and deliver such a broad range of programming, super affordable for a senior demographic, which is just growing incrementally in our municipality and across the country as our old country's aging. We're not having the kids we used to have, and we have to look at this. So as much as some people bemoan, oh, Midland, I'll say Midland because that's all I care about, is becoming nothing but a seniors community. Well, yeah, that's what happens when people age, right? Start bumping out more kids if you want to change that. But that's just not what's happening in the world right now for a variety of reasons. So we need to look after our seniors. That's what's driving us, to look at enhancing our transit system, making sure that the Ascanonia is looked after and has longevity, trying to plan for the staggeringly expensive costs of capital to expand the amount of space we can provide, not just to Ascanonia, but to everyone trying to use sports and recreation, which in itself is a poverty reduction equalizer, because no one's paying the real cost of this any more than they'd pay the real cost of transit or anything like that. So we're super cognizant of that it's a greater good thing. That's part of living in a urban center. These are what you expect. These are the services our seniors demand and deserve. So great to see you back. We'll make this abundantly clear to council in the math so that we can adjust the way the formula works for you. And then we'll continue to work even past this body, because we change every 4 years, but continue to work for the municipality perspective with Ascanonia to make sure that your needs are met, that our needs are met, and that that amazing building and resource continues to be managed, maintained as cost effectively as possible, and with growth plans and expansion plans, in the decade to come. So thank you. So council, this is an ambiguous sort of vanilla motion, but we know that there's going to be more meat brought later. So moved by Deputy Mayor Pro, seconded by Councillor McDonald, that the presentation provided by Mike McRae, Board Chair, and Blair Randolph, Executive Director of Ascanonia Senior Center, be received for information, and that the Ascanonia Senior Center 2026 budget request be deferred for consideration during the 2026 budget deliberations scheduled for December 9th, 10th, and 11th, 2025. All those in favor, council? Any opposed? Carried. All righty. Last but well, I guess last but not least, our Huroney Airport submission. Oh, wait, did I skip somebody? No, we got Huroney Airport. Cultural centers after that. Welcome, and the red light's on, so take it away.
Great. Good evening. I'm Carson York. I'm the new manager of Huroney Airport. Today I'm here to request the council's consideration for the financial support toward and continued development and expansion of Huroney Airport, which become a vital part of our community's growth and economic future. Over the past years, the airport has seen significant increase in traffic and business investment. This growth has created more jobs and boosted tourism, and is keeping the younger generation interested in aviation for the years to come. However, to sustain this momentum and meet the rise in demand, additional investments are still required for runway improvements, terminal improvements, safety and security upgrades, and keeping up with inflation. By contributing funds to these projects, the towns will not only help strengthen local infrastructure, but also foster long-term economic benefits. A more efficient airport attracts more and new industries, supporting small businesses, enhances regional competitiveness. This investment aligns closely with the town's goals for sustainable growth, innovation, and improved quality of life. Looking at the budget, we are seeking a 2.13 increase this year, which is 81,500. 60,000 is going to go towards operating, 16,500 towards our capital, and 5,000 towards our runway. The runway loan is going to be for the capital, and the capital ask is to protect our investment with a new steel roof for the terminal. As it's starting to show its age, we might as well get on top of that and keep that moving forward, because we know that the airport's been with the townships for about 60 years now. Moving forward, we're going to see more growing businesses and larger employment, the bigger future for the airport. This year alone, we have seen 6 hangars go up, another taxi stub, and a 600-foot long extension. More hydro poles have gone in, and now even moving forward, we've brought in natural gas for the residents. We see a demand for more hangars and more businesses in the years to come. We're even working on moving and clearing more land for commercial businesses separated from the air side, and increasing the revenue to become further and more sustainable. Our hopes are for extending the runway as well, and to bring larger jets in. And we've recently brought in a larger commercial company who has moved up from Sudbury and is now based with us. Their presence has also made our name get out there and has spiked interest from other companies to one day base with us and call Huroney Airport their home as well. This year so far, we have had many emergency planes and helicopters come to us for refueling and making sure that people need to get to be where they need to be safely. Breakdown of those services are the military, the Coast Guard, the medevac, the police, and hydro, and a few visitors from the United States, with over 140 movements. Our airport is much more than a transportation hub. It's the essential asset that directly supports public safety, disaster response, and life-saving operations. So with your support and funding, we may continue to help these services and motivate the town's younger generation and keep the aviation alive in the communities. Thanks.
Thanks, Carson. And I can add too that, as council will recall, early in the term, we give consideration to parceling off and registering some plots and selling land at the airport. That did not work out. And it turns out that it's a good thing it didn't, because the interest for leasing space and putting the hangars are paid for by the person who leased the space, it's taken off. And, you know, this big, sort of one big tenant that's involved in the Ring of Fire, they own double-digit percentage of the Ring of Fire. I think we had a presentation by some of them in one of our meetings. They want to make this their home base. They needed that runway to be expanded so that they can bring in the big airplanes that currently can't land there. That runway expansion is going to be staggeringly expensive. And of course, as 50% owners, Midland ratepayers are going to have to pay for that 50%. So in the background, the commission and some work I'm doing are working on ways to try and mitigate those costs so that we can have our cake and eat it too. Meaning that we wouldn't have to pay as much for the expansion, or potentially pay anything for the expansion if I can really get it working. Yeah. Got a few balls in the air on this one, but there's real exciting opportunity for their airport. You know, if you'd asked me 4 years ago, I'd be like, put the for sale sign on it. Who needs a club, an airplane club? You know, we don't own any marinas other than our own, which, you know, we can't seem to make any money at either. Why do we want to be part of this? And I'll tell you, my opinion of the airport under new management, running it like a business, this opportunity with the Ring of Fire guys and our other valued clients that are investing their own hard-earned money to build hangars on leased land, and the business interests that are sniffing around trying to get our lands for other purposes, just shows us what a valuable asset this has. So it's the perfect time to have this airport. And the commission has been working really hard to make sure that the increase in ask is minimal, because with development charges we're now charging when people want to build on the airport, we're having these DCs go into a reserve that helps pay for the expansion of the hydro poles and the gas if they want gas to their hangars, because they keep all their toys in their hangars too. So before that was kind of it was free. And as soon as we started asking for development charges, really nobody squawked. They couldn't believe we hadn't been asking for them all along. So the commission and I know we've gone through successive managers, but it's kind of like handoff, pass the baton. We're not going out to the wild finding new managers every time. We're hiring from within. The commission, I really believe, is the airport's poised. Like with the Premier's push for the Ring of Fire, whether you agree with it or not, it is, it's real, and he's got at least, another 4 years to make this happen, and it's going to happen. We look at the rate at which the province is making good on their things they dream up one day, they're being read in the legislature the next, and getting royal assent a week later. I really see things that foot's on the gas pedal. So opportunities for our airport right now are very real and very material. So it's actually a good time to be 50% owner in this airport. And that's a complete 180-degree difference from my position, 3 years ago. So it's good times in the airport business, and we're in good hands with Karsten. And you notice we're not talking about snow blowers or anything like that. This is all being looked after internally, and they're doing a great job. So fair skies, and I can't say following seas, that's nautical. Whatever you say in the flying world, tailwinds, I guess. Sure. But at any rate, if you have any other questions for Carson, I just wanted extra little context as I'm on the commission. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you for the information. Would you be able to send that to us, what you read to us?
Yep, 100%.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
Councillor Ball.
Thank you. That is a 180, I guess, from where we started. I am not as convinced, unfortunately. I still think I don't see the 50% value that Midland pays for it. And of no fault of your own, you're the third manager we've seen up here. So that's frustrating for you to have to come and fill those shoes and continue what they were planning and then obviously didn't do. I do appreciate the community programming that goes into I guess, the residents of the airport, the leasees of the airport that give flight opportunities to kids in our community. I think that's a great opportunity. On that point, though, I do know of a lot of local high school students that reached out for co-op opportunities that were not given any notice back. They were not no contact was made when they have sought other opportunities in other communities because of that. And I think that's really unfortunate if we're building on community and we're building on trying to teach young aviation minds to get them involved in aviation, excited about aviation, and hopefully work in aviation in our community, then we should be getting back to the people, especially if we're paying 50% of the cost of the airport. Those students that are in Midland should be able to have that opportunity. So that's my one takeaway. I don't believe it was you, so I'm sorry that you have to speak for it now, but you are unfortunately in the manager position now. So that's a takeaway for next year. Ongoing, please get back to our students about that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. Thank you, Mayor Gordon. And thank you, Karsten, for the presentation. And I'm glad to see where, the increase is only 2.13%. I'm happy to hear we're still continuing to treating like this like a business run. Stemmed from, I think was it last year when we changed the man, or was it 2 years now? 2? Yeah, so we're on a good track here. So which is good to see. And I'm sure some constructive criticism is we can all use that, so we can improve on that. But for the most part, yeah, good job on that. I would like to see some financials at one point. I know before we used to get a kind of a breakdown of revenues, expenses, revenues from gas and so forth, fuel and so forth. So I mean, I don't think it's necessary right now, but I think I think it does come on the CIP, I believe, that staff does present us. But typically during the budget, we do get a breakdown of everything. But seeing the low 2.13% increases, so it's not a major sticking point for me. But keep up the great work, and we'll see what happens in the future with Mayor Gordon's comments there and what's coming down the pipe. But seems exciting for the airport. Maybe we'll do some commercial. We won't have to go to Pearson pretty soon, and that would be great, wouldn't it? So, but thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Councillor Patel.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. So thank you, Mr. York, for coming in and giving us a great presentation here for Huron Airport. Big things are happening, and which is positive news. Looks like we're gonna create some new jobs if we get the Ring of Fire contract, expanding the airport. And, the number two, I think, is Councillor Meredith's favorite number when it comes to increases. So number two, hint, hint. But overall, the airport is doing great things. And, if we expand it and make the runway bigger, which creates more opportunities. And I know Mr. Meredith was talking about going to AMO in a plane next year. So we're gonna need a bigger runway because apparently he's gonna use a 20 passenger jet. So thank you.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you very much for your presentation. The requests from Deputy Mayor Prost, I would like to see the papers as well. And maybe with that, we could see maybe a profit and loss statement so we can get some kind of idea where you go. That's my request. My question is in regards to do you have a crystal ball where you're going to see the airport some year being self-sufficient and you won't have to come to the municipalities for money?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I don't know when. We don't have a full plan, but bringing forward, like we said, when we bring this runway into here, we bring these businesses, I think that's going to really set it off for us. We're going to be able, we might even have to operate at maybe at 24/7. I mean, we're only 8 to 5 right now, but we are starting to bring in some after-hour services to a few of these businesses coming into us. So we'll kind of see how that flows with everything. And yeah, so hopefully we'll be sustained sooner than we think.
Thank you for your response. That's the word I wrote, hope. Every presentation we've had here, they're always hopeful.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see something positive develop that is concrete.
Yeah.
And you're fortunate to have the mayor's support.
Yes.
Because it is the mayor's budget.
Yes.
Well, yes, it is, but we're doing it name alone because we're doing exactly the same way we've done every other year. But yes, I do end up wearing it because it is going to have my name on it. But for those of you who are interested in what we're talking about here, I mean, we've had presentations. I think we've even had Teams meeting with them on. If you Google Juno Corporation, you'll understand who this due tenant is, exactly what Juno, Juno, who they are, what they got going. They're in gold mines. They've got all kinds of, well, they own, I think it's 50 or 60% of the Ring of Fire. So these guys are real players and they want to set up shop and a home base at our airport. So that dream of getting to self-sustaining or perhaps even profitable, which is, the P word when it comes to airports, that actually could happen. Now, there's obviously a lot of things that have to go on, especially with the Ring of Fire, because there's negotiations with Indigenous who clearly have a claim to their land and what's underneath it. So there's a whole bunch of really sensitive things that can go on that doesn't make this all, sunny days for our current provincial government. But where there's a will, there's a way. And I think this is, if we've ever had an opportunity for this airport to really be something more than just a fun place for local aviators to keep their little planes and flying around, this is the opportunity. So I think that the big thing is going to be the expansion of the runway. And it's a large expansion. It'll also fix a hump that we have in right now because you can't even look from one end of the runway to the other. It kind of goes downhill. Don't ask. There's money involved and there's environmentally sensitive areas that have to be dealt with. Lots of trees. There's just a lot of work to make this happen. But I think if we didn't have this opportunity with this major mineral company and we were just looking at leasing land, little squares to people to build their hangars to keep their toys in and fly, our path to profitability is probably decades away, if ever. But the commercial side of this for both aviation and non-aviation uses is that's the opportunity that I see, and why I think it's still worth staying in this partnership. But I think to everyone's concern, the deal we have, the tri-party agreement that was crafted back, whatever it was, 60s or in the 70s or something, really needs to be brought up to date. But it has to be done with the consent of all three partners. And so that's something we can work towards in the next couple of years, especially if this commercial use of the airport really takes off, which, no pun intended, I think it will. But you never know, because this is there's a lot of moving parts to unlocking those critical minerals, and the aggravating factor that we don't actually refine them in Canada. They would all have to go on a boat to China. These are all issues that, that's going to be Carney's problem, or whoever's running the federal government as their nation building. So it's just neat that little Midland actually has a role to play in, these critical minerals, the company that's going to be extracting a lot of them, and that here at Little Huronia Airport has the option to be a player in that. And that name is resonating around at the, the higher levels of the provincial government and maybe even the federal government right now. So kind of exciting times to be in the airport business, and thankfully it's a low ask. Councillor Ball?
Thank you. I mean, it's tiny, I guess, that has the real hold on that, since they're getting the revenue from taxes from that land. But you mentioned some controversial issues, so I want to make sure that we are taking into account the Indigenous perspective in our area, at least when this is going ahead, that we're consulting with that, because I know that's been a big issue in the Ring of Fire. So I'm hoping that we are taking that into consideration when we're doing this big plan towards going into business with Ring of Fire and that initiative. So I'm not sure if we're discussing with Indigenous partners right now, but that should be here on the board. So I'm looking at both of you to answer that.
It doesn't really impact us as the airport owner operator. That will be more for Juneau and its competitors to deal with, and the province of Ontario to make deals and settle claims and whatnot. Tiny itself, I believe, is on unceded territory. I'm not sure if it's all of Tiny. From their land acknowledgement, it seems it's unceded territory. Whereas Midland, of course, as we say, there's several treaties, including Williams treaties. So those kind of intricacies would require Indigenous consultation, but I don't know that there's any expectation or any requirement for the landowner here to be doing consultation on behalf of a vendor or customer who's just happened to be leasing space from us. So although I wanted to bring up the issues that this whole Ring of Fire thing is not cut and dry, it's not simple, it's complicated, which is why I don't want council to think we're going to see immediate return on investment. It's only that we have this amazing opportunity, which our neighboring municipalities that have airports don't. And even the airport, the Lake Simcoe Regional Airport, which is arguably our airport as part of the county, because it's fully funded, is not being considered. They're not willing actually to be a host for these operations, which kind of leaves us in that unique, enviable position of being the closest aerodrome to Toronto that can host their operations. So I guess there could be Collingwood, but I think a couple of the guys live in around Tiny, and they'd like to be able to just commute from their house to their airport and and their business. But so there's a lot of bottom line is there's good opportunity here. It's not what existed back 3 years ago, and it's kind of a sidebar. But I just wanted to help Karsten out because he's new to the gig. He did a great job, but there is opportunity on the near and midterm horizon. Long term, I guess it's going to depend on what goes on with tariffs and states and refining and all these things that are way above us. And those are problems for our customers, which in this case would be one big heavy lifter who's poised to lease a lot of land from us, put up some very big hangars and fly very big planes. And their staff are going to live and stay in hotels and eventually buy homes in the neighboring municipalities. And I would expect Midland to get the lion's share of those as all of our development unlocks. So there's a lot of spin-off impact, which I was super skeptical of when I saw that slide last term telling me why the airport was so amazing, and I rolled my eyes. But it actually is poised to now. It's no longer just aspirational. It really is on track. But there are things completely out of our hands that need to all happen and fall into place for that to actually happen. So meanwhile, we're leasing lots, building hangars, and trying to run the place like a tight ship and keep our cost increases as low as possible.
Thank you. Just follow up that it is tax dollars. So I think the Indigenous thought process should be at least a discussion at the board level about the impact of bringing in a corporation with this magnitude, regardless of if that's our duty or not. It's just a thought process we should have.
All right, anything else for Carson? Councillor Bald.
Yes, I just wanted to tell everybody that I used to be in the bush. Okay, I was a geologist, and we went in a lot of different planes and all kinds of stuff. So I think that having that kind of thing that you're talking about, I think it's very, very good, because I think it might attract people going out in the woods to try to maybe get some gold or whatever. That's what I was doing that a long time ago. So I'm very glad that hopefully, you'll be able to, with all the people, get that, the airplanes going there. And yeah, I think that's a good idea. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, this was easy. Moved by Councillor Major, second by Ball. A good discussion on this, by the way, because we get to talk about cool stuff at the airport. Oh, Councillor Major, do you have more? Oh, you're okay. Moved by Councillor Ball. The presentation provided by Carson York, manager of Huroney Municipal Airport, be received for information in the Huroney Municipal Airport 2026 budget request in the amount of 81,500 be deferred for consideration during the 2026 budget deliberations scheduled for December 9, 10, and 11, 2025. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Thank you, Carson. You're free to go. All right, 6.8, our Midland Cultural Center.
I'm sorry to be the last person speaking.
Sorry, you know what? Just before we get going, I know you've been so patient. Could we just take a quick 5 bio break? We've been at this since 2.
Yes.
There may be some floating teeth involved. All right. Okay, so it's 5:12. Let's say 5. I'm never back on time. We'll say 5:20. Let's be aspirational. Cindy. Welcome back, everybody. And so now we're back to 6.8, and that's the Midland Cultural Center. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Mary Lane Canavan. I'm Chair of the Board of Directors for the Midland Cultural Center. Good afternoon, Mary Gordon and members of council. Good evening, maybe. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and thank you for your continued support of the Midland Cultural Center. In particular, we want to express our appreciation for the $10,000 in programming funds the council provided to us last year. That investment allowed us to offer free, high quality, locally grown arts and cultural programming to residences of all ages. Programming that many families in our community would not have had access to otherwise. Today, I have a few concrete examples, just a few, of how that funding directly benefited this community. First, the creative vibes. Folk and Blues Collective. Each month, MCC hosts the Folk and Blues Collective. It's an open mic, a free event for singers, songwriters, and spoken word performers at all stages of their craft. These events draw 10 to 12 performers and more than 60 audience members each month. With your support, we also presented 10 Creative Vibe concerts in the atrium, offering honorariums to local musicians and covering sound technician costs, thanks to council's programming dollars. Audiences steadily grew throughout the series, and 2 events were paired with Huronia players, bringing in people who might never have stepped inside the MCC before and giving them a chance to experience the tremendous talent in our community. Second, and the $10,000 helped bring in a musician in the atrium for a high art gallery show in June. Through Quest Art School and Gallery, your funding supported a special musical performance by a local resident, Emma Walker, during the High Art 2025 exhibition, which showcased student art from St. Teresa's and Georgian Bay District Secondary School. The opening drew over 200 guests, including families and students, and the live music created an energizing, inspiring atmosphere that elevated the entire event. And third, a Halloween family art activity in October, of course, Halloween. During Midland's Monster Mash event, Quest Art used the shared space to host a free Halloween craft activity for families. We saw more than 250 participants, and demand was so high that we actually ran out of supplies. We had not expected such a response. It was a joyful, creative experience for local children and their families. Again, all made possible because of council's contribution to the MCC. Each of these programs were free to the public, accessible, and community-driven. They brought people together, supported local artists, engaged our youth, and made Midland's downtown more vibrant. They introduced new audiences, sometimes first-timers, to the MCC and to the arts and cultural opportunities available right here at home. Quite simply, your investment helped create meaningful moments of connection, creativity, and community pride. As you've now heard, we accomplished a great deal with last year's $10,000. Your investment stretched a long way, allowing us to deliver impactful free programming that reached hundreds of residences. And now we're ready to build on that success with your support. Today, we are requesting $20,000 in programming funding for 2026. This would allow us to expand what's working, allow us to offer one series in the spring and another in the fall, so that the community benefits from a more consistent year-round access to creative experiences at MCC. With this increase, we can also diversify our programming to better reach younger age groups and emerging artists, further strengthening the creative vibrancy of our community. Your support will help us continue to grow these programs in a sustainable way and ensure that more Midland residents can connect, create, and experience the arts close to home. The community's response to these programs has been overwhelmingly positive, and we are excited about the opportunity to build on this momentum. Thank you again for your past support and for considering this expanded request, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay, well, I got one, sure. So Quest, one of the tenants, one of your tenants, hasn't formally approached us for funding, but I have had many conversations with them which hint at their need for funding to remain viable and to continue offering art programs to our community and beyond.
Yes.
Is is this something that's in partnership or I'll call it cooperation, but friendly competition because you're in the same building and you're kind of competing in the same art space?
Competition.
So yeah,
Let me
just
clarify.
help me out with this one because we haven't been asked to fund them, and we did fund last year. Kind of, it was the first time we got a request for in like this. Before that, it was just forgiving, because you're climbing out of the pandemic, forgiving the cost of insurance.
Yes.
And council had no problem with that $10,000 request. I think it was 10,000. But if this is going to become like the new normal and you're going to be like one of our agencies, boards and commissioned with committed yearly funding, like we need to work that into our work plan if this is going to be a rinse and repeat process. So there's I guess the first obvious question.
Absolutely. And I'm glad to clarify that. The Quest Art School and Gallery is a tenant of the MCC facility. And we certainly do not charge the market value in their rent. And we work very hard to collaborate so that each one of our programs or initiatives between the Canadian Water Museum, Quest Art Huronia Players, and MCC go together so that we are supporting each other and making sure that if Quest is running a craft show, that I'm not running a show that's in competition with that. And can I do something in MCC or in the Water Museum that works to make more traffic for the other guy and make sure that that happens? And so when the craft show is on, the Indigenous Art Gallery is there and all the rest of it. We support each other, and it doesn't always work in dollars. Sometimes it's in kind. Use of the part of the this Quest High School High Art event was actually run in the atrium. We didn't charge them for the atrium, and yet I would have charged a client or a customer for that. So we do subsidize each other. Oh, no, MCC subsidizes Quest, yes. And part of those monies would go to subsidizing their events. Am I funding them completely? Am I paying for their ED? No. Does that clarify that?
It does, and something we get away with, and I say get away with, barely funding the arts in our municipality. We own the building, yeah, we got it for $1. We have to manage the upkeep. I think there's some roof issues we're going to have to sort out with some drips and whatnot.
We're working on that.
But this is all part of for the course, because we get the building for $1. So, we've had this pitch from previous boards, about how many hundreds of thousands of dollars municipalities our size and a bit bigger contribute towards their arts and cultural facilities. And we get away with basically nothing. So it's kind of the best kept secret. So when, you come and ask us for, I'll call it a measly 10 or 20, $30,000, we are still so far below what other municipalities with amazing facilities like MCC contribute that it's difficult for me to, even argue against it, but it's new for us to be, being asked to fund these things because we just haven't in the past. So that was more my question, because Quest, if they wanted to come for funding, they would have to use a different channel. They would come to us through the community grants program, which arguably your request for this kind of funding could also be directed to, but instead, you're in our ABC stream. So that's really, where I was going with the questions on it.
Actually, I have a leadership meeting with each one of the heads of our tenants and partners. Brookside is a partner. We have different partners that don't actually live in the building, but work with us. And part of talking to them is the value of the arts and culture community to Midland and what we give. So the Toronto Star on October 30th put in a big article talking about the $65 billion that the arts and culture sector contributes to the GDP, and how, of course, businesses are struggling and we are in a difficult economy. And so private donations are shrinking, and how governments need to support that. And that's not going to happen because the governments are having the same kind of problem. So we're trying to do more with less, but we're also trying to do that with collaboration. And we really feel that if we can collaborate within our group and within our outside partners, we can actually get more bang for the buck and do more things for the community. And it brings people in to have dinner here, to stay overnight here. So our summer trade is increasing. And I'm really thrilled to see the absolute chaos in the atrium during the summer when we have the kids in for the art school and there's rehearsals going on in the Huronia Players Theater, and there's another group in the Rotary Hall, and there's people walking through my Indigenous art gallery because they parked their boat and they heard they had art galleries. There's a lot going on in there. And that's part of my goal of these atrium events, created traffic. And the traffic is good for all of us because it just keeps that moving. And then they ask about the Y Marsh, and they ask about St. Marie, and then they ask about where they can go and eat. And I literally keep a list. You know, what are you looking for? Are you looking for Indian food? Are you looking, and you just keep it going because I really think it's a gem right in the heart of Midland. Great.
I agree wholeheartedly. I'm a big fan of our really rich arts and cultural community, and it's incredible how little we actually pay as a municipality for all of the good and the amazing stuff that happens. So I'm a fan of that. I just think that maybe this opens up a broader discussion that maybe for next term, maybe we need to look at some kind of sustainable funding agreement for programming that you offer at, you know, on barely a cost recovery or potentially just free to the community. And we look at some committed funding so that you're not having to come back and try and, you know, dance for dinner year after year. So I'm just, that doesn't exist right now, but I'm just saying that, like, if this council thinks it's a neat idea, then, you know, perhaps the next council will too, and it could be something we could work towards. So that was where I was going with that, not meaning to be critical of the ask.
That's okay.
Councillor Ball.
Thank you. I just want to speak a bit to it because I've been proud to sit on the board as the town representative. And I think that we weren't seeing what you were seeing before. We weren't seeing the behind the scenes before sitting up here. And I'm so glad that I got to be able to see how hardworking the board is, how committed they are to making a more inclusive space, because our perception when we came up here is that this was an unaffordable space. It wasn't a community hub. And I see how hard you have turned that around. And it is, it's a community hub, and the way that you're going towards it being more of a community hub, these atrium events that you're putting on, you are the hub of, and that's why I would say why the Midland Cultural Center is coming on this avenue instead of going through a community grants, is they are the hub for the community programming. They're the hub for other agencies and committees. So they are bringing traffic in, but they're also creating that culture similar to what the library creates as a community space for people to enjoy, whether it's going in there to enjoy a cup of coffee or have a winterized space that's a little nicer than going to a Tim Hortons, and a friendly face is always there, and bringing people into the space and creating the galleries and being able to offer that free programming is supportive of all the tenants in that building. So I would say that's probably why they're coming this avenue. And I agree that it's a discussion brought by the board a lot of times about how underfunded they are by the municipality. Everyone's aware of it. I think we've been working nicely on collaborating and repairing our relationship with each other. So I think it's a good baby steps towards a bigger picture.
An inch at a time, which is
Thank you, Mayor Gordon, and thank you for your presentation and summarizing how the $10,000 program fund was able to help the community. I have two questions. The Halloween family art and craft activity, was that in collaboration with the Quest Art, or was that just the
MCC and Quest Art? But Quest, sorry, they're the artists. And MCC is the facility to unite us, right? We enable them, but I'm not an artist. And Lawrence is amazing as the executive director at making things work, and something that was fairly quick to do, was reasonably easy to do, didn't need huge expensive resources that you go ask Lawrence, and then he put it together. But MCC volunteers helped. There were like, I have like 80 active volunteers. I think my roster is about 140 at this moment. And some people go south for the winter and some people go to the cottage or the boat for the summer. So it flexes a bit, but it was collaboratively run and we assisted in that.
That's encouraging to hear. So, so this year you're asking for 20,000. So that means you're going to deliver twice as many programs?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I want a spring program to lead us into summer things that are going on. And I want a fall one to lead us to the season, right? So right after Labor Day, start bringing people back into town. And because kids go back to school and all of a sudden you need to do other things. And if we can bring them in, then you get that activity. They know what's happening. They understand that there's PA day things at Quest, that there's workshops in the HP. It creates the traffic. Otherwise, they seem to have a short memory and they forget we're there, which is frustrating.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Gordon. And thank you for the presentation, Mary Lane. I just want to say how great it is to have the cultural center as the hub of Midland. And at the point of when it was first constructed, the I don't know if it was assumption or the plan was for it to be self-sufficient and revenue generating. And we know there's issues with that and funding. And I'm hoping that I know that you're looking for a new management to take over the previous manager, and hopefully we can get it on track and have a consistent progress in the right direction.
Right.
I'm hoping. We've seen that in Route 93, where from the EDCNS that it was basically almost falling apart to now it's climbing, it's getting some trajectory, right? And we see this with other programs as, the Roni Airport, which we saw tonight,
Yeah.
which we funded quite a bit, and then now it's turning into a business model, and their increases are minimal, which in my position up here when we're looking at a budget of 5.12% in this economy and the environment that we're in, we're looking for savings, right? So and the ask is very minimal, right? And
right.
I would agree, and most of the asks today were fairly easy to take in, but on December 9th and 10th, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but some of these asks, whether it's 20,000 or 80,000 or 1.7 million, they may not get approved to their full budget. So, but I do appreciate you coming in, and because this is the second year, I guess, for the asks. The first ask was 10,000, and now you're doubling it, which is still, as Mayor Gordon said, it's not very much. It's not very much, right? And if we can support the cultural center fully, then I'm sure our municipality would, but we just don't have those pockets right now. So maybe we get more growth, and that's the key. I think the key factor that we need to kind of look at our growth, which is pretty much stagnant, and we have a lot of approvals, but until that growth comes in, we have less tax dollars. So, but in saying that, I'm hopeful you'll get your ask and continue the great work that you're doing, and strive on a path of with management and the way it's run in a consistent basis, which I'd like to see at the cultural center, because I don't think that's been in place for a little bit now, a while. So from outside looking in, I couldn't make your AGM this year, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't available to attend, unfortunately. But the last year's AGM, you're heading in the right direction, and hopefully you continue to build off of that. And this year, as I said, I haven't seen the revenues, but I'm thinking sure it's in a positive. And Jamie Lee will speak to that, but thank you very much. I'll stop rambling.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to clarify the budget is in a pretty good place. Their sponsorship dollars are down, like everyone's across the board are. But we did, Mary Lane can speak to this, that they were not able to have a marquee. It was broken before, as well as signs, but they did secure a substantial grant for those, and they are in the process of working with Town of Midland right now to get those up on the building. So that will increase sponsorship dollars again because they weren't able to have on-screen sponsorships. And now we actually have more screens going in. So Mary Lane can speak to that. And it was fully grant funded. They didn't have to touch any of the operational revenue. So she can speak way more to that than I can, but
Well,
they're in a good place.
If I may respond, it is my personal goal to make MCC operationally and financially resilient. We will never go without asking for monies. We're arts and culture. You're not supposed to make huge amounts of money unless you're a rock star, and we're not. And we're a cultural center. But if we can be financially resilient, that if a couple of shows or a series or a program tanks on us, that it doesn't bring us down. So that's where we should be. And we're getting there, and we are working at a risk level that we have a good task list. We know what we've got ahead of us, and we're working with the town more to get this going. But this grant for this marquee and new screens inside, upgrading some of our technology, making sure that we are current and that we can be flexible and that we can bring in better shows, and that creates a better ticket price for us and allows us to do what we do and do more and do it better. That's where we need to be. So that consistency is going to help us. In the management department, we've brought in an interim executive director who has 40 years of incredible experience running community cultural centers. They are very specific. The funding model is different. The management model is different. And he is looking for 2 months at our setup, how we work this. And he's worked in the States. He's worked in Kitchener-Waterloo. He's worked all across Canada. He's very knowledgeable. And I'm very impressed with his cooperation with us and collaboration with all of our partners. He is speaking to all of our partners, past presidents, past all sorts of people, and trying to help us form a formula that works for Midland. And he's local, and I'm just really hoping that that helps us get a working model that will make us work well and we can build on. Now, this is going to be a 5-year plan. This isn't going to happen by next month, but I'm really hoping that that gives us consistency and helps us show ourselves off better, do better, and work with the town of Midland better. Does that answer? Okay.
Perfect. All right, I've got a motion here moved by Councillor Meredith, if that's okay, seconded by Councillor Bald. But the presentation provided by Mary Lane Canavan, Chair of Board of Directors for the Midland Cultural Center, be received for information, and that the Midland Cultural Center 2026 budget request in the amount of $20,000 be deferred for consideration during the 2026 budget deliberations scheduled for December 9th, 10th, and 11th, 2025. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Thank you very much for your patience and suffering through all the other presentations today.
It was interesting. Thank you. Good night.
All right, I got a motion here moved by Councillor Patel, seconded by Councillor Bald, that the Counts bylaw 2025-63 being a bylaw to adopt the proceedings of this special meeting of council held on November 26, 2025 be passed and enacted. All those in favor? Oh, yeah, you know what? Okay. Yeah. If I could turn back time, I forgot about 6.9, which I was going to do. Southern Georgia Bay OPP Detachment Board. It's flat. It's the same 25K as last year. All the members are putting the same money in. No change there. Yeah, there's a board. Yeah, we have to have one. Yeah, we're fully no, we're still missing a couple of provincial appointees, but the province doesn't seem to be in any hurry to fill those. But yeah, so we're just at the 25K from each of the members. That's already baked into the budget. It's not a separate ask, but I just thought I'd update you on that. But since we've already confirmed it all, consider yourself updated. Now a motion moved by Councillor East, seconded by Deputy Mayor Prost, that the special meeting of council adjourn at 5:50 p.m. All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.